District titles on the line, cross-regional showdowns, cross-classification slugfests. Week 4 of the Texas high school football season's got a little bit of everything, and we're going to bring you all the action from across the Lone Star State here on a mega-sized Week 4 edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. Hello again, everybody. I'm Greg Tepper, managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, joined by my friend, my colleague, my confidant, my brother, Ishmael Johnson. Ish, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
How's your week been?
It's been okay.
You've been okay?
Looking forward to this day.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to it, too, because I just love having this rapport with you and sitting here on the show.
Right.
We are also pleased to be joined by, I want to say, Ashley Pickle? Is that right?
Sounds right.
Ashley Pickle, executive producer of Dave Campbell's Texan Live. Thanks for having us on our show.
Not my show.
This
is a Mallory Hartley joint. Speaking of Mallory Hartley, she picked an incredible slate of games for Week 4 of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. Let's go ahead and dive into them. Check out our Week 4 Spotlight games. We start off with a cross-classification matchup of Pottsboro traveling over to take on the Hornets of Munster. A massive showdown out east. Carthage taking on the Bulldogs of Tyler Chapel Hill. Down to the Hill Country we go. Wimberley taking on the Badgers of Lampasas. Arguably the #1 game in the state being played on this very night. College Station taking on A&M Consolidated. Then we head back up for a cross-regional showdown. The Salina Bobcats taking on the Lions of Franklin. And then we round it all out with the big dogs. Austin versus San Antonio. It's Westlake, it's Cibolo Steel. It's a game we are very excited to watch, as are the guys that we have across the state of Texas calling these very games, some of which we will catch up with later on at halftime of their games. It's Ross Levinsky, Jared Robinson, Trevor T-Pup Bullard, and our guy EJ Sanchez down there for the big one in San Antonio. Guys, we say every week we typically have a very good slate. This is an incredible slate of games.
And especially considering there's so many 6A teams and 5A teams who are off this week. It's the first of 2 really big bye weeks across the state of Texas, if you didn't know. But you take a look at this is an opportunity to spotlight some small school games. There's 6 spotlight games, Ishmael, only 1 5A game and 1 6A game. 2A, 3A, and 4, you take center stage.
I was about to say, you can go with Munster, Pottsboro, you can go with Westlake, Cibolo Steel, you can go with the Same Town Showdown, right, in College Station. There's going to be a lot of variance with the bye weeks going on, but the variance, I think, plays into, if you're a casual fan, you get a taste of what this entire state is about.
The other thing I love about this week's slate is that you've got games that are all over the state and not necessarily in metro areas, right? You've got a big game in San Antonio, right? But then it's like the Brazos Valley, it's East Texas, it's Texoma. We are spanning the state here on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight, and you're probably thinking, well, why these games? It's because our producer chose them, but also because they're great games. Here's what we're keeping an eye on for each of these games, starting with that big game in Texoma with Munster and Pottsboro. This game is absolutely spectacular, I think, from a perspective of which of these teams are going to come out on a defensive side. I'm really interested to see what this Pottsboro quarterback can do. He has been absolutely terrific to start the year. And Munster, if you're into this kind of thing, they're the #1 team in our computer rankings in 2A Division II. The computer loves them because they've been absolutely dominant. Even their 1 loss in the year is to a good Holiday team, which is a 3A team. Can they slay the Dragon tonight?
Let's move on to our next game, 4A D2 versus 4A D1, Carthage versus Tyler Chapel Hill. Look, this is a matchup of teams. One team kind of getting healthier after a rough week 1 in Carthage versus one that's kind of has some questions as far as injuries go. Demetrius Brisbane, the quarterback for Tyler Chapel Hill, will he play, will he not? We're hearing no. What does that mean for Chapel Hill against a Carthage team that is healthy after Jet Surratt, their quarterback, got injured in week 1. They had an early bye in week 2 to kind of get him better. And then last week it looked very good against Liberty Ilo. What happens now when Carthage faces a hobbled Tyler Chapel Hill team?
Another cross-classification matchup, cross-division rather, 4A Division I versus 4A Division II. This one, though, in Central Texas. The Texans of Wimberley heading out to take on the Lampasas Badgers, a high-powered Syntex clash here. A big reason for that is the battle of the quarterbacks. Cody Stover has worn the cape and has continued to be Mr. Do-It-All for the Wimberley Texans, taking on a player in Reed Jerome, now in his second season as the quarterback. Previously was a linebacker over there for the Badgers, but moved into the quarterback, not computer back, goodness. And he has been truly spectacular for them. Here's the big question, though. Can Wimberley shake off that big Week 3 loss? They took on an incredible Austin and LBJ team. We had a lot of questions. Wimberley is hurt. Can they start to rebound and get a good win over Lampasas?
Yeah, can this be a get-right game for Wimberley? Meanwhile, the biggest game of the night, in my opinion, I ranked it #1 game of the week on Texas Football Today earlier this week. It's the same town showdown in the Brazos Valley, A&M Consolidated versus College Station. I think the District 12 5A Division I title is up for grabs, especially for Consolidated, who has already beaten Pflugerville Weiss last week. Can they go and get win against College Station? Consolidated has been awesome on special teams and defense. They have scored in all 3 phases in all 3 of their games so far this year. But in this series, College Station, the little brother theoretically, has absolutely dominated. 6-0 all time. This game tends to be close. I would expect it to be no different this year.
Another cross-class game, 4A D1 versus 3A D1. This is Salina versus Franklin. Listen, if you want to see a game that's going to be bloody, knockout, drag out, these are 2 running teams, but the difference could be Salina and quarterback Bo Bentley, has shown the ability to stretch the field a little bit. Is that the difference in a game where Franklin wants to keep the ball on the ground with Jaden Jackson, Salina wants to keep the ball on the ground with their 2 running backs? Could that be the difference, is those 1 or 2 plays that you know that Salina, which by the way has an impressive resume, wins over Belleville, La Vega, Gunner. Is that the difference in this game that proves Salina is for real and really, really a state title contender?
And rounding it all out, we said it earlier, not a whole lot of big games going on this week with it being a big bye week, but boy howdy did they deliver at least one of them in the 6A ranks, and that is the Austin Westlake Shaps going on down to San Antonio to take on the Knights of Cibolo Steele. I'm not even going to read off the amount of players on the offensive weaponry that they have right now, because we'll talk about it all night long, but guys, this says it enough. Tied third in scoring offense in 6A with 55.6 points per game. They are electric. But the question is, a San Antonio team has not defeated Westlake since 2013. It was Cibolo Steele who did it. Can they do it again? And is this the time, Tepper, that we might see the 2-1-0 start waving the flag?
Yeah, that's the big question, right? I mean, because that's the thing, is that the powerhouses in the Austin area have dominated San Antonio, specifically Lake Travis and Westlake, Adam Vandergrift as well. But one of the things that I'm keeping my eye on tonight is the shifting of narratives, okay? We talked about it with a couple of games. Cibolo Steele and Westlake, obviously. Yeah. Can Cibolo Steele kind of take one back for the 2-1-0? That would be massive for them. The other one that I look at is the College Station A&M Consolidated game, where A&M Consolidated has been, they've been playing football since 1936. Yeah. But College Station has been the dominant force in the series. Can they flip the script and finally get that elusive win?
Not only the elusive win, you mentioned it a little bit on Tep and Step, where it's like College Station just showed up and they're all of a sudden the big dog.
2012. Hey guys.
2012. And by the way, I believe A&M Consolidated had 1 district title, I believe in the 90s. And College Station showed up, and within, a year or 2? Yeah. Already had their first one. And so it's like they're that annoying little brother that, completely just surpasses you and everything. And you're like, I'm the first child. Right. I'm the one
Where are my flowers?
Yeah,
that's exactly
my flowers.
It's a absolutely fascinating matchup down there, and one of the things I love about it is that game is always close, and we've been the early highlights have come in. Looks like a zoo down there at Tigerland Stadium.
Oh, it looks incredible.
It's going to be a great atmosphere. We're excited to bring it all night long.
Excited to watch it. So there you go, the opening drive, getting you set up and geared up for the incredible slate of games we have on Week 4 of Dave Campbell's Texas football tonight. Well, let me tell you, the fun does not start here. It actually started yesterday. After the break, we have highlights of an absolutely insane game between Willis and the Woodlands down in Houston. But we had to give you a little teaser. It's our Thursday night call of the week. This one brought to you from that game by our very own Chase Snyder. Stay tuned though, full highlights coming up after the break.
Quick throw. Bishop bounces off a hit, and here he goes. Look out for Jermaine Bishop. He needs a block. He gets it and scores. 57 yards for number 7.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football and Texas Army National Guard are honored to present the Coach of the Week Award, celebrating one head coach in 7 different classifications. That's 6A all the way down to 6-man, and of course, private school every single week. Think your head coach deserves some recognition? Nominate them under our weekly Twitter and Facebook post. Those will come out Friday at 10:30 p.m., Saturday 8:30 p.m., and Sunday at 6:30 p.m. That's facebook.com/Dave Campbell's or at DCTF on Twitter. Thank you to Texas Army National Guard for helping spotlight the hard work and dedication of high school head coaches across Texas.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football and Ozarka will announce 7 Team of the Week winners for 14 weeks of the Texas high school football season from Class 6A down to 6-man and including private schools. Head to texasfootball.com, go to the awards tab, and find Ozarka Team of the Week to see this season's winners and vote for your program to be named. Winners are announced every Wednesday on Twitter and Facebook.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football and Panini America are teaming up this season to honor the best high school quarterbacks across the state of Texas. 7 quarterbacks, 1 in each classification, 1A through 6A in private schools, will be named Quarterback of the Week and will receive a virtual Panini America trading card to commemorate their performance. Check out which outstanding quarterback was selected each Tuesday morning on the Dave Campbell's Twitter and Facebook pages.
Your power is unstoppable. And with us cheering you on, there's no limit to where it can take you. Baylor Scott and White Health, the power to live better.
Week 4 underway across the Lone Star State here on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. Greg Tepper, Ishmael Johnson, Ashley Pickle with you the entirety of the night. But in fact, Week 4 started last night, as it usually does. On Thursday night, it was those Thursday night lights down there in Conroe at Woodforest Bank Stadium with a massive District 13 6A clash between unbeatens as the Willis Wildcats visited the Woodlands Highlanders in a state-ranked matchup. Let's go to the highlights, where it was a must-see affair down there in Conroe. We picked this thing up first quarter. This is Jack Emerson firing a strike to Romel Stevens for a 17-yard touchdown, but that puts Willis on top early. But, and this will be a common refrain here, the Woodlands would have a response. They have their own quarterback named Jack. Jack Dalton fires it out to Shane Walker. He's got a seam, gonna make a man miss, break some ankles, break some tackles, break some hearts, get into the end zone, break the plane. 7-7, we are knotted up here at Woodforest Bank Stadium. Then more from the Woodlands. Looking for their first lead of the game, and why not hand it to Jackson Bolander? 85 yards, a thunderbolt up the middle, a fantastic run. Gets them on the board, gives the Woodlands their first lead of the night on this long touchdown run. Great blocking downfield as the Highlanders take control. Now, it's 21-14 Willis. When Jack Dalton, gonna look deep, great pocket, great protection, fires deep, has a man! It's Eli Lancaster over the shoulder. That will knot this game up at 21 at the break. Then, into the third quarter we go, and more from the Woodlands. This time, it's gonna be Jack Dalton again. Looking, he's gonna have time, fire deep to Kimo Kuletsis, who's gonna haul in that 31-yard touchdown strike. The Woodlands knots this bad boy up at 28 apiece. We're all celebrating with our football friends. Now, Willis back on the attack. This time it's Jack Emerson. Going to fire over to wide. And of course, Jermaine Bishop going to be tackled for a quick gain. Wait, what's that? Unable to be brought down. Off to the races, and he's got the Jets to make it to the end zone. Gives Willis the 35-28 lead once again. Now, still in the third quarter, stay with me here. This is going to be, we're not up at 35 again, and Willis threatening again. Same play, Emerson, Bishop, this time no such drama, gets in for the 10-yard score, gets a little nudge from his friend there at the end. That's going to be 42-35, Willis on top. Now, the Woodlands looking to tie this game up. They will in the form of Jason Haskins scampering in for a 32-yard score. The sophomore puts this game level at 42 apiece. Now, waning seconds of the ball game, 3 seconds left. The Willis has driven down. This is a 29-yard field goal attempt. Justin Willis, he's got the school name and he's got ice in his veins. 29 yards, ball game, blouses. Willis moves to 4-0 on the year with a thrilling 45-42 victory over 12th ranked the Woodlands on the road in Conroe, taking command of District 13 6A. Chase Snyder was on the call, and Chase is on the case.
Hi there, Chase Snyder here with you from my driveway, where I just got back home from Wood Forest Bank Stadium, where I watched Willis take it over the Woodlands tonight, 45-42, as time expired thanks to a 29-yard field goal from Justin Willis. You had a feeling that whoever had the ball last would win this game, and that's exactly what happened. The most outstanding player has to be Jermaine Bishop, who had over 200 total yards of offense tonight, scoring 3 touchdowns, all of them coming in the second half. Could not have been more clutch for the Willis Wildcats. Jack Emerson, the Willis quarterback, has taken over for DJ Lagway, and they have not missed a beat. They're 4-0 to start the season. They take first place in 13-6A, and it goes a long way towards their hopes of going undefeated for the second year in a row in the regular season.
Thanks, Chase. Appreciate you filing that courageous report. And for Willis to take command of District 13-6A, we had questions coming into the year about whether or not Willis was going to be like a flash in the pan. Like they were a one-year thing. Trent Miller, fantastic job. But you had Mr. Texas football, right? DJ Lagway. The thing that has impressed me the most here is Jack Emerson, who stepped up in such a huge way. He was terrific in this game.
He was outstanding. 24 for 32 for 451 yards and 4 passing touchdowns, guys. They have not taken a step back at all from DJ Lagway, and that sounds absurd to be saying at this point. And like Chase said, all eyes were on Jermaine Bishop for a long time. They're going, okay, he has the ground game. He has the tenacity to get into the end zone from almost any stretch. It takes more than one player to bring that guy down. But when you pair him up with Jack Emerson and what he's able to do in the air, they look now like not only a team to beat in District 13, they look like a team to beat potentially for the remainder of the season-ish.
Yeah, over 200 yards for Jermaine Bishop, and that was the question, right? We knew DJ Lagway had weapons last year, but it's DJ Lagway, like you mentioned, throwing him the ball, so it's like, okay, well, how much was that with him? How much? And Jermaine Bishop is showing that, and Jack Emerson is showing that I'm capable of distributing the ball, I'm capable of working this offense. And also, how about Jack Emerson taking last year in and saying, like, okay, how much can I learn from DJ Lagway, right? How much can I process knowing that my time is coming, and then having the patience and having the confidence to then come out and say, all right, everybody's looking to the guy at Florida being like, oh, what happened to him? And he's going to be like, I got this, right? I play a different style. He's not the same type of quarterback, but he's able to do so much. He doesn't have the strongest arm, but he has an accurate arm. He's able to move enough. I believe he had about 50 yards rushing or something like that. He's able to move enough to where teams are like, what is happening? We thought this offense would slow down, and they haven't at all. It's been just incredibly impressive from Willis so far.
Yeah, I've been very impressed, and this feels like a real signature win for them. Obviously taking command of District 13-6A, but we wanted to see them really get pushed by a quality team.
Yeah.
They went on the road and beat the Woodlands. I mean, that is an impressive victory for the Wildcats. With a K, by the way. Don't get mad if you spell it with a C.
I will say they would get mad if you spell it wrong. All right, on the other side of the break, we will talk to you about the other Thursday game between Hitchcock and Belleville. But before we do, of course, like every week, we crown our Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week. Week 3's winner, drum roll. I like the cuts of making sure you can see them.
We had a good drummer.
Shelbyville quarterback DJ Barnes. Listen, I'm going to read out the stats and show you why it should not have been close. 385 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. 292 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns, 7 total touchdowns for this guy. If the voting was close, the voting was wrong. It should not have been close. Congratulations to our Mr. Texas Football. We'll be back after this, where you are watching Texas Football Tonight.
Takis is the presenting sponsor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Sustainability Champions Award, spotlighting influential kids looking to pursue a career focused on social, environmental, and economic well-being for our future. Be sure to check out this week's Spotlight Game of the Week, where we'll be spotlighting 2 Sustainability Champions Award winners. Thank you to Takis for your support of the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Sustainability Champions Award. For more information, visit texasfootball.com.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football is proud to partner with Sport Tyler to award the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose National Player of the Week, which recognizes the top offensive player in Division I college football, who also exhibits the enduring characteristics that define Earl Campbell: integrity, performance, teamwork, sportsmanship, drive, community, and tenacity. It all leads up to the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Award, announced in January. Congratulations to this week's winner of the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose National Player of the Week. For more information, visit earlcampbellaward.com.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football and Higginbotham have teamed up to find the most driven team in Texas. This fall, 10 finalists will be highlighted throughout the season, with one student athlete from each team receiving the Most Driven Scholar Athlete Award for their leadership in the classroom, along with $1,000 in tuition assistance. In November, all 10 communities will rally to vote on TexasFootball.com, competing for the title of the most driven team in Texas. The school that rallies the most online votes will receive a $10,000 donation to their school, thanks to the support of Higginbotham. To learn more, visit TexasFootball.com/mostdriventeam.
Hey DFW residents, get your grocery essentials in minutes, not hours or days, with Wing Drone Delivery. Forget about last-minute trips to the store when you need things like cereal for breakfast before school, medicine for a cold, or snacks for a movie night. Wings drones get you quick, no-contact delivery in as fast as 15 minutes. Say goodbye to last-minute grocery runs and say hello to more of your valuable time. Sign up today.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football and Wing have selected 64 high schools in DFW to take part in a head-to-head online bracket challenge, showing their school pride and community spirit during the 2024 Texas high school football season. The winner will receive a $5,000 donation back to their school. We're currently in the round of 32, which concludes September 27th. For more information on the challenge, go to texasfootball.com/most-spirited-school-challenge.
Back to Texas football tonight. We appreciate you joining us. There was one more game that we're going to talk about that happened Thursday down in Hitchcock. Hitchcock versus Belleville, cross-classification matchup between one team that was playing for a state title and one team that hopes to get there. Let's start right off in the first quarter down in Hitchcock. Low-scoring affair. I'm just going to give a spoiler warning, at least in the first half. That's Lloyd Jones, Texas Tech quarterback, commit, throwing a Terrell Allen, the running back for Hitchcock, to put the Bulldogs up 7-0 early. I mentioned this was a low-scoring game, and guess what? This next score from Belleville, this is the only one for the first half. Slot T right here. Look at that misdirection. Handing off to Travis Turner, 8 yards in the end zone, ties it up at 7. Man, this one was a slug fest early. We're going to skip all the way to the third quarter. Lloyd Jones again, this time finding his star wide receiver, Kelshawn Johnson. Look at that move right there. Jukes to the inside, speeding down the sidelines. Guess what? 71 yards. Sometimes when you have guys like that, slow scoring, you just need one or two plays and you are back in this game. 14-7 Hitchcock in the third quarter. As Kelshawn Johnson, make sure he steps off the field before he removes that helmet. As we go now to the third quarter, Lloyd Jones finds Cole Fisher, 30-yard touchdown, and guess what? This is a 2-score lead for Hitchcock, which seems like a massive, massive advantage in this type of game. 21-7 Bulldogs heading to the fourth quarter. Belleville, though, not going away. This is running back Isaac Kranicki, 3-yard touchdown, plows his way inside as the slot T moves its way forward, crossing the line and cutting the deficit to 1. Last chance, fourth quarter for Hitchcock. This is going to be picked off right there by Everett Lacey for Hitchcock. He's going to take it all the way back to the 30 to ice it, and a massive, massive win for 3A D1 Hitchcock, 21-14 over 4A D2 Belleville, the 4A D2 runner-ups. Look, guys, this is a massive win for a Hitchcock team that knows that this is their year with the quarterback, with their receiver, taking on a team that was just in Jerry World, trying to get back there. Tepper, what did you take from this performance from Hitchcock?
I will say that for Hitchcock, this feels like an important win that's even more than even just moving to 3-1 on the year, right? To me, this is a cultural win in the sense of the book on Hitchcock is they've got the playmakers, but they'll just get bullied up front, okay? If you can just play bully ball up front, then they'll fold and it's over. You can have your way with them. what impressed me most, Pickle, is that they stood their ground in the trenches and more or less played a very good Belleville team up front to a draw and then let their playmakers win the game on the outside.
That's what we wondered the whole time. Obviously, Belleville being a higher classification, Belleville being known from last year to this year with guys like DJ Sanders. I mean, he's huge down there on that line, okay? And you're exactly right. The line play that they showed to give Lloyd Jones the time in the pocket that he needed. He's very quick. He's very versatile. He can hit you in a lot of different ways. But what impressed me the most was Hitchcock's line being able to open up those holes for D.D. Murray. We were talking about it a little bit earlier in the studio, and I was cracking up watching the game because every single time I would look away for 2 seconds, I would hear the broadcaster, Trevor Bullard, go, and D.D. Murray with them. And I was like, oh my God, he's all over the place. And it was just so impressive how they were able to operate against some massive guys down there.
So the thing about Hitchcock is like, and this is, I'm sure it's going to get clipped and put on the internet. Hitchcock's a great 7-on-7 team. That's just a true fact. Like, they're very good at 7-on-7, but then our question has been, okay, what happens when you strap on the pads? I mean, they won the state 7-on-7 tournament in 2023, I believe, or 2023. I want to say they were runner-up this year or were in the mix in 2024. Made a deep run because they got those playmakers. But a game against Belleville is a litmus test for how well you can play up front, and that to me is a lot more resonant about what they can do moving forward.
And Pickle mentioned the defensive line, of course, with DJ Sanders for Belleville. I thought Lloyd Jones had one of his best games, not maybe statistically, just watching him, because there were some moments, as DJ Sanders does, where he breaks containment and there was one-on-one. There's about 1 or 2 plays where he's one-on-one with Lloyd Jones, and he's so athletic as a big guy that Lloyd Jones had to be able to do some crazy move to get out of there, but he was able to, and he was able to stay composed and make certain throws and make plays under pressure that that people are looking at that saying, or looking at this Hitchcock team saying, if we can just get to Lloyd Jones, we can probably disrupt him. And no, he was able to stay composed, make these throws. And then sometimes it wasn't even as hard as, hey, let's just get Kelshawn the ball on a screen and he'll take it.
It was 2 incredible Thursday night games between the Willis and Woodlands, and then, of course, Hitchcock and Belleville. Coming up next, we start diving into all that Friday Night Lights has to offer. But before we get to break, it is time for our Texas State Technical College Technical Play of the Week. And this one, we have showed it before, but we have to show it again. Flashback to week 3. It was A&M Consolidated taking on Pflugerville Weiss, and it was the big man touchdown. Vakapuna Faketi goes the distance and turns on the Jets at the end. We'll let him take it away, and you'll join us again after the break.
Blockers in the backfield. Mullenberg out. Will hand off. Now will fire into the end zone. He's got a big man touchdown. How about that? Vakapuna Faketi, the senior defensive lineman, with the touchdown grab.
Want to talk Texas high school football with your 2 favorite dorks? Join television's Greg Tepper and Ashley Gizmo Pickle every Monday and Thursday at noon on TexasFootball.com. Texas Football Today, the flagship program of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. It's the same analysis, insight, review, and preview that you've come to know and love. Talking about Texas high school football and college football all across the Lone Star State.
In a college football world that's increasingly nationalized, Dave Campbell's Texas Football presents The Republic of Football, the only comprehensive podcast on all 13 college teams in Texas. Live every Tuesday at noon on the Dave Campbell's YouTube page, Twitter, Facebook pages, and publishing on Apple Podcasts and Spotify shortly thereafter. Host Ishmael Johnson leads the gang in discussing the biggest college football stories from the state. You get coverage of the SEC, Big 12, ACC, AAC, CUSA, and Sunbelt, but with a little Texas twist. No one has their finger on the pulse like senior college writer MC Mike Craven, staff writer Carter Yates, and everyone's favorite Malpal producer Mallory Hartley. Come spend your lunch break, your car ride, or gym session with the Republic of Football. Live on Tuesdays at noon at TexasFootball.com and published everywhere you get your podcast shortly thereafter.
Are you ready to kick off your Wednesdays with a fresh, fun, and fearless take on football? Tune in to Women Talking Football, hosted by the dynamic duo of Dave Campbell's Texan Live, Ashley Pickle, and Mallory Hartley. Every Wednesday at 12 p.m., join us on TexasFootball.com as we deep dive into every corner of the Lone Star State's football scene. From exclusive insights with coaches' wives to on-the-ground reports from across Texas, we've got the inside scoop you won't get anywhere else. Get ready for a game-changing experience where the ladies bring their A-game and you might just find yourself saying WTF in the best way possible. Women Talking Football, where sports analysis meets sass and expertise. You can't miss it.
Want to go deep on Texas high school football? Check out Tep and Step, the premium high school football podcast from Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Each week, Greg Tepper and Matt Stepp take you inside Texas high school football like nobody else, breaking down the biggest games and the biggest storylines from all across the state. Want to know more about Texas high school football than the guy at your water cooler? Go to TexasFootball.com and become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber so you can get Tep and Step in your podcast feed. Or tune in every Friday at noon at TexasFootball.com for premium insights from Texas high school football experts Matt Stepp and Greg Tepper.
It's Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. Ashley Pickle, Greg Tepper, and Ishmael Johnson. We just got done telling you about our spotlight games. We recapped some Thursday games, and now it's time to dive into the action. We'll have highlights, scores, everything that you could want coming up all night long on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. Let's go ahead and get started taking a look at some 1A scores. We start off with 1A Division II. And guys, we always start off with this. Let's tell the viewers why. Six-man games tend to get points a lot quicker. So that's why we usually start off with our 1A scores. Tepper, taking a look at 1A Division II, what piques your interest?
Yeah, it's a lot more interesting than putting up like these two 11-man teams are still scoreless. Yeah, Sydney is up on Bluffdale here early. Sydney's a team we've got our eye on, undefeated to start the year. Roseland Springs has 45 Burkeville tonight. That game is over as the Coyotes have improved to 3-0, I believe, on the year. Miami up on White Deer. Gorman and Iredell still scoreless. Zephyr newly into the rankings this week, up on Lingleville, and a big game there, Motley County and Kroll, two teams that I think are right outside the rankings right now. Let's move on to 1A Division I, shall we?
We shall.
Whiteface up on Klondike. Klondike is probably the best 0-3 team in the state. Could be the best 0-4 team in the state if they don't come back against the Antelopes tonight. Happy up on Whit Harrell. Newcastle and May locked in a tight one. That's a really good one. We got our eye on Jayton and Knox City because Jayton's the #1 team in 1A Division II, going on the road to take on a state-ranked 1A Division I team. Buena Vista and Water Valley knotted up at 8, and then Gordon looking to remain unbeaten against a good Nazarene Christian team. That's actually, according to the computers, the Dave Campbell's Texas Football computer, that's the game of the night. Like according to that, Nazarene Christian is a state-ranked, I believe, a state-ranked private school team in the 6-man ranks. So keep an eye on that. By the way, that QR code up there in the top right, if you want to scan that bad boy, that'll take you to TexasFootball.com/scores, where you can see all the scores across the state live throughout the course of the year.
Absolutely. So there are the scores. We are about to dive into the highlights, but there is one more order of business for us to do before we kick off the craziness here, and that would be to wish our director, Blaine Tatum, a very happy birthday. He is the birthday boy, graduated from Aledo, so a big Bearcat. He's seen a couple state championship, a very own North Texas alum. That right there is the best part of the graphic. That's his cat, Fred. Blaine really likes his cat, Fred, the Texas Rangers, and, of course, making obscure references to funny YouTube videos. If you know Blaine, you love him, and we are very excited to have him here with us for year 2 of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. But the happiest of birthdays to our director, Blaine Tatum.
Boy,
All right.
I got to tell you, we spared no expense on this graphic, too, like the Photoshop of the hat.
Graphic design is my passion.
It really is
your
passion. That's terrific stuff. Happy birthday, Blaine. This is the version we could afford of this song.
Hey, if there's anything we always
anybody
bring...
would like to sponsor our birthday shout-outs, greg.tepper@texasfootball.com. Shoot me an email. We can make that happen.
All right, so a very happy birthday to Blaine. Now Blaine is begging us to get to the highlights, and that is
let's do it again. Let's run that again. Let's run it back. Happy birthday, Blaine.
We take you out now to Decatur versus Graham. Let's get to the highlights. We'll start off Decatur with the ball first. They're going to fake the rollout here. He's going to hand it off to Abraham Graham. Graham playing on Decatur, not the Graham Steers, and he will take it all the way into the end zone for a touchdown. Up next, quarterback Ty Thompson here for Graham. He's going to go right. Can he get it? Almost gets tackled there, but not yet. How about that? Breaking out and hitting Thompson Burnett for the end zone. Graham, don't worry. We're still going to try and put some points up on the board. It's early on. Can they make the field goal? Yes, they can, to take a 3-point lead over Decatur. Then Decatur on 1st and 10 throws, and that is Lance Hestonade. What a touchdown there for him. Brings it all the way back.
To the Houston area we go. It's homecoming for Cy Ranch. Big crowd at the Berry Center. First, Cy Ranch linebacker Calvin Thomas breaks through, sacks Jared Hager on 4th down. Then Cy Ranch quarterback Braden Baker fumbles the snap, and Cy Ranch has to settle for a field goal. Then Cy Springs quarterback Jared Hager going to drop back. They picked off by Cy Ranch's Jacob Lee in the back of the end zone. Great grab there in front of a big homecoming crowd. Then on the very next play, this is going to be Peyton Thomas on the handoff. He's going to have the ball knocked out. And Cy Springs takes over as Devontae Batiste falls on it. And then our first touchdown of the game, Cy Springs, Paris Melvin the Jr. is going to weave his way in for the score to bring the 7-3 Cy Springs on top.
Staying in Houston area, Klein Forest versus Klein. This is going to be Lattell Carter dropping back and drops a dime right to Paul Torrey. Klein on the board first. 7-0, back to Klein. They're going to strike again. This is going to be Kelly Edward. Takes it 43 yards to the house to make it 14-0 Klein. Oh, man, first quarter. Why not? It's Klein again. This is going to be Carter Lattell. Paul Torrey. That is not a deja vu. That is the same connection for the second time tonight. Up by 3 scores is Klein. And then Paul Torrey again on the reception. He hauls it in for his 3rd reception, and it is all Klein in the first half. Up 4 scores, and 3 of them belong to Paul Torrey, wide receiver.
Okay,
That is
a moment on Klein.
Sure.
A moment on Klein.
We're taking a Klein out?
no.
No.
We'll be right back.
Show's over.
But Klein was 2-0 until last week when they lost to Klein Kane. And I think that there was maybe this notion of like, we're going to throw some dirt on Klein. They were a product of a soft schedule. I think if they were to go and beat Forest like this tonight, I think that they need to be right back in that mix. The district championship probably going to be out of reach now when they were lost to Klein Kane last week. I'm very in on Klein. Absolutely. Please no more puns.
Okay, back to play after our Klein out. It was only a 30-second, so don't worry.
We'll keep it right here.
We've got some fulls left for you. That seems like the perfect time to let you know that if at any point in time you want to two-screen us or you get tired of listening to our commentary, we've got great news for you because we've got games going on all across the state, much like our Klein game. You can go to TexanLive.com/subscribe, and that'll get you access into watching every single game that we have for a full year. Football, basketball, baseball, swimming and diving, water polo, anything you want. TexanLive.com. So TexanLive.com/subscribe. Go do that. All right, but if you're staying here and enjoying our yapping, it's our favorite thing of the night. Let's head on out, guys. It's time for the Quad Box.
Quad box? We quad boxing?
Hey.
We're quad boxing!
Oh.
Who else has the courage to quad box? Nobody! Some people are afraid to be the best. Not Texas football tonight. We're quad boxing, baby!
So you can do that, but I can't say Klein out.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Correct. You got it.
Okay.
That is the
Figure it
line
out.
of demarcation.
You got it. By the way, a couple of things to note. You're going to see Cibolo Steel up on Westlake, though Westlake there in the red zone. Pottsboro taking it to Munster there early in this game. Carthage, Chapel Hill knotted up in the first quarter. But how about Lampasas up early on Wimberley?
Westlake, almost.
Yeah, this is a collection, obviously still early in this one, second quarter in all of these games with the exception of Chapel Hill Carthage, although Carthage now knocking on the door here. Couple teams in the red area here as Jet Surratt's going to check the play call. But I don't know if there's necessarily a huge surprise here. It looks like Westlake going to have to settle for a field goal here. But I would say that Lampasas showing that they've got some stomach for the fight against Wimberley.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, this could lean more into Wimberley being still banged up because I think the one thing that
I think we got to touch down Carthage real fast just to point that out up top.
Up top.
Far fade right back in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, Jet Surratt dropping a dime.
Yeah, first of all, to touch on that game really quick, Chapel Hill, how about them, first of all, coming out quick, scoring, as we know, Demetrius Brisbane not in the game, right, not playing, he's nursing an injury. So for them to come out early and show that, hey, we still got some pop. Now, again, it's going to see if that lasts in the second, third, fourth quarter, right? If that was a scripted thing that they say, hey, let's maybe gin something up and see if we can catch them off guard, or if this is something that maybe they saw in film that maybe they can try and exploit even without their star quarterback.
Here's the other thing about Carthage, okay? That in the beginning of the season, right, that loss to Kilgore in the opener.
Yeah.
I think even Scott Surratt would tell you, like, that offense just wasn't up to our standard.
Sure,
right? The offense just didn't play to our standard.
Yeah.
Last week against Liberty Ilo felt like a real get-right game.
Yeah.
Like, they got KJ Edwards, their running back, going. They got Jet Surratt going. They found some things offensively. For Chapel Hill, they're banged up on the offensive side, right? I need to see their defense step up in a big way against what may, in fact, be a high-powered Carthage offense.
Well, and call me crazy, and this might seem just a very basic way to go into a game, but when you're playing a perennial powerhouse like that is used to just winning consistently, always, all the time, I don't think that you're out of your mind if you say go in and score as many points early on, because this is a team that isn't used to fighting back. They never have to fight back in games. So an easy solution, but one you can employ as we take a look here, as you were talking about, obviously the Badgers of Lampasas up early on a Wimberley team.
One thing I want to ask about this one of you guys about this Wimberley team is, especially with them banged up, did LBJ maybe find a little bit of a blueprint of how to stop? Because you look at what they did to Cody Stover last week. I believe they held him to over 100 yards rushing, but everybody else on that offense had 24 yards on 9 carries. And of course, the receivers had to, that involved Cody Stover. So, like, as far as yards weren't not generated by Cody Stover, 24 yards. And so it looked like LBJ was like, hey, if we can just contain this guy, make everybody else beat us. Is that kind of the blueprint, especially if the Texans are still banged up?
And I think you're exactly right. And then beyond that, you go back to their state semifinal loss to Belleville last year. I would kind of categorize the way that Wimberley was built at the end of the last year to the way they're built presently with a lot of their injuries situation, where we're making the whole plane out of Cody Stover. And Belleville found a way to come up with stops. When it mattered, it basically barely, you know what I mean? Like, they only barely came up with stops, but they were able to do it at the right time. And so I think that you're right, that LBJ may have written the script here, but let's not count out this Lampasas team. I think for all we talk about this Wimberley team, Lampasas may in fact be underrated there. As a quick tunnel screen there is going to pick up a first down there for Lampasas on 1st and 10.
Well, and I think a big portion of that is Reed Jerome. We talk so much about Cody Stover and what he's able to do. You take a look at both of these guys in the comparison in how they have been playing so far in 2024. And Reed Jerome, I mean, he's passing for more yards, he's rushing for more yards. I mean, his entire stat line has been superior to what Cody Stover has actually been able to do. He really might be a key cog in this Lampasas office to get them back up to maybe when's the last time they've been super good? A great quarterback under Ace Whitehead.
I was just about to say the last time they had a quarterback who could, a dual threat quarterback at that can make plays with his legs and be a threat through the air was Ace Whitehead, who's now, of course, playing baseball at Texas. But yeah, that's the last time. Reed Jerome now etching his name into that book a little bit, saying like, hey guys, the Badgers could be back at that level that Ace Whitehead had them, which is competing for a state championship, competing deep into November, heading into December.
Now, this is a Lampasas offense that's averaging 51 points a game. I mean, they've been fantastic to start the year. But here's the thing, though, is that I think tonight represents a pretty sizable step up in competition. Off here. As you know, they played Fredericksburg, they played Salado, they played Killian Chaparral to start the year. They were, I think, mild to clear favorites in all of those games.
Yeah.
I think they're probably an underdog tonight. And by the way, it all gets tougher from here. The rest of their schedule, okay? Wimberley, Waco University, which is a 5A team, a 3-1 5A team. They play Lorena, which another team that has a case to be the best 0-3 team in the state. And then down the road in district play, they're going to play Brownwood and Stephenville, and they also play Burnett Pickle.
They sure do. That's a little crosstown rivalry that they've got going on down there with Burnett.
Jerome firing out to the outside.
Ty Johnson, number 1. That's their number 1 target, 169 yards receiving. Damian Rivas, who was the guy who had the carry on the last one, he has over 300 yards. He's their leading rusher. Again, it is a lot of Reed Jerome, but I think what Wimberley's struggling with is finding that next guy next to Cody Stover. What Lampasas isn't struggling with is maybe finding those 1 or 2 playmakers outside that can maybe bail Reed Jerome out, as we see a good move here Oh, what a way to avoid that sack just to get a gain of 4 or 5 there.
So I think it's really interesting the coverage that we're seeing here from Wimberley is that they're only bringing 3, maybe they bring a 4th kind of as a spy here. I think they're trying to make Reed Jerome a pocket passer.
Yes.
They're trying to make sure it's like, you're not going to beat us with your legs. You have got to make sure, we're going to make sure we contain you from a running perspective. I think that's probably wise. I think that's probably like he's the guy that I think if you were to kind of talk about what he's best at, I think he's probably best at running the ball and being elusive. And so that's the thing that I think is really interesting from Doug Warren's staff.
Well, and putting on my Central Texas hat there for a second too, when's the last time, other than with Ace Whitehead, that you've seen a Lampasas team that's running a little bit more of that hurry-up offense?
Yeah,
Salina
just
touchdown pass from Bo Bentley, putting it on Franklin tonight. Well, that is a 4A over 3A, so let's not go too crazy.
Sure.
But I would say that the offensive explosion here from Salina, I mean, let's talk about that resume. Let's talk about what they've done. I understand that they have quote unquote punched down a couple of times, right? They've played.
Those aren't slouches,
but they're not slouches, right?
Yeah.
I think every team they've played has been state ranked at the time.
Yeah.
Maybe with the exception of La Vega when they played them, but Belleville, La Vega, Gunner, now Franklin. And by the way, it's not like it gets a whole lot easier. Week 5, they play Panther Creek, the number 2 team in 4A Division 1.
Yeah, this Salina team. And like I said, that was a passing touchdown, right? I mentioned Bo Bentley earlier, over 300 yards of passing this year. Of course, Salina wants to run the ball with their 2 running backs, Harrison Williams and Logan Gutierrez. But the fact that they're able to throw the ball 10 times roughly, as Pickle, what's catching your eye there?
Checking in on Cibolo Steele and Austin Westlake down here. Cibolo Steele up 10-3 on the Chaps.
Punting it away here. As Lampasas taking a deep shot. This is, I think you're spot on there. You know, it's a fake!
How about that? David Sinez!
Oh, that tricky David Signs.
Is that Royal Capel? Yeah, that's Royal Capel, number 8 on the.
Buddy.
First of all, okay, look. I know that Westlake's coaches know more about football than I ever know. If I see Royal Capel on the punt team in the gunner position,
buddy.
Go away.
That guy.
I'm calling a timeout. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, like what a luxury that it must have for David Signs to be able to, hey, what if we put like a legit Power 5 wide receiver as our up man in the punt formation?
You know, Tony Salazar was like, wait.
No.
He's getting it.
It's probably number 8. They bring back Chad Warner out on the offense, but this Cibolo Steel attack, they've got so many ways to beat you, and also, like, you want to talk about the.
They get him that time. It's like, all right, this number 8.
Yeah, we're gonna dial that back for you.
We're gonna find a way to stop you there. That's enough of that. But a gutsy play, as again we've talked about it off the top. Cibolo Steel, talking a team that's looking to win one for the 2-0.
Yeah.
They have been personally victimized by Austin for the last decade, basically.
Yeah.
And this is a regular season game. Chance it's the first of 2 meetings between them.
Possibly.
Potentially. This could be a regional final between them. But for now, Cibolo Steel does look the part. Chad Warner stepping up, fire into the end zone. Just a little bit short.
And we mentioned it earlier, too. The star power that this offense for Steel has is incredible. You take a look at some of their shining stars here for Steel. You've got the UTEP commit in quarterback Chad Warner, OU commit in Jonathan Hatton, their running back, and then the dynamic duo of wide receivers, Royal Capel and Jalen Cooper. Guys, these have been, I mean, this is insane, the lineup that they have.
Like, you're looking at maybe, as far as like skill competition across the state, you're looking at Duncanville.
Yep. DeSoto.
And that's kind of it.
Maybe like that's why they're tied for 3rd in scoring averages.
Right.
With DeSoto, by the way.
Yep.
And this is a team, like Tepper mentioned, this is a team that last year got so close to a state championship game. And the thing that they needed was just to be bigger up front because we knew about their skill talent. This year they look bigger up front. They look like, I don't want to say they've solved it, but it looked like it's gotten better than where it needs to be.
The only other teams, because now you've got me thinking, like as far as skill talent is concerned, maybe we lump in North Crowley.
Yes,
yes,
the way
that would be a miss if we didn't.
Maybe a Tascasita. Like they've got. I mean, certainly. I'm a big believer in what obviously.
Mac and Blaylock. I mean, Mac and Blaylock.
That's a 1-2 punch.
Yeah, I'm interested in wide receiver.
From a depth perspective, like there's very few teams in the state that can put 4 FBS commits on the offensive side out there on the field. I'm sorry, offensive skill position.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's
Sounds
absolutely
like you've
crazy.
got the 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all you need. All right, so we checked in with that one. How about we head down to what we call the featured game of the night? That was down in the Brazos Valley as the crosstown, the same town showdown as they have deemed it. College Station taking on A&M Consolidated. We're joined now by the man who was lucky enough to be on the call for this one, Trevor Bullard. Trevor, an incredible game. We've been excited about this one for a long time, and the biggest question we had coming into it was little brother in College Station finally going to lose one, since they have not yet? What are you seeing in the first half on that theory?
Well, it was just explosive offense on, first, I'd say about 14 minutes or so. We saw a 93-yard touchdown catch by Cameron Vines, but then the defense has kind of really settled in. Consolidated kind of lost a chance to, take the lead going into halftime. Cameron Vines had another spectacular catch. They got down to the 4, and they just had a fumbled snap. And we're outside here, so some kiddos having some fun. Everyone's having fun out here, but it's just a tough way for Consol to, miss out on that opportunity. But they do get the ball to start the second half, so I kind of want to see how the defenses are or I guess I should say the offenses are going to kind of adjust how explosive they were the first quarter and some change to really kind of getting stymied.
Trevor, it's Greg from work. I want to ask you a little bit about about the scene out there at Tigerland Stadium. I know this has been a really anticipated game down there in the Brazos Valley. Can you kind of set the scene of what the Tigerland Stadium is like tonight?
200 people. There is not a seat empty in this house. It's completely packed. The crowd we're on the home side in the booth, and that place was shaking on that long touchdown catch. I mean, it is crazy town banana pants out here. It's just electric.
He's Trevor Bullard. He is on the call tonight for A&M Consolidated and College Station. Appreciate your courage. Appreciate you weathering the elements down there, specifically those rascally kids.
The youths.
The
Stadium youths.
Listen. I think we can say this as a staff, out on kids.
As a staff.
Says the guy with the only one with 2 kids.
I mean, Hank and Max are cool.
But all the rest of the kids.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't met those kids. But it's a big game down there, 14-14. We figured it was going to be close.
Yeah.
We did the math that, yes, College Station is 6-0 against Consol, but I think what's got to be more frustrating for Consol is that the average margin in these games is 7.8 points. So every game has basically been a one-score game.
You and Step talked about this on Tep and Step, where it's felt like College Station's gotten every single break ever in this series, right? Even when things are going A&M Consolidated's way, it's a fumble, it's a turnover, and it's like 50-50. You feel like those chances are 50-50. And theoretically they should be, but it's felt like it hasn't been, and you feel like eventually, it feels like eventually the pendulum has to just swing in Consolidated favor.
The law of averages.
Consolidated's favor. So.
Excited to watch the quarterback matchup too between these two in College Station's Cade Cochran and then Consolidated's Will Hargett. They have been incredible so far, and it's going to take one of them stepping up in the second half of this game to see who ends up taking the Battle of the Brazos Valley. I like the same town showdown though, but the Battle of the Brazos Valley is good too. Just workshopping it, think about it. All right, we're gonna keep workshopping here, but we will be back here on Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight after this break. Highlights, quad box, halftime interviews, and more. We'll see you in a bit.
Takis is the presenting sponsor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Sustainability Champions Award, spotlighting influential kids looking to pursue a career focused on social, environmental, and economic well-being for our future. Be sure to check out this week's Spotlight Game of the Week, where we'll be spotlighting 2 Sustainability Champions Award winners. Thank you to Takis for your support of the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Sustainability Champions Award. For more information, visit texasfootball.com.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football is proud to partner with Sport Tyler to award the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose National Player of the Week, which recognizes the top offensive player in Division I college football, who also exhibits the enduring characteristics that define Earl Campbell: integrity, performance, teamwork, sportsmanship, drive, community, and tenacity. It all leads up to the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Award, announced in January. Congratulations to this week's winner of the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose National Player of the Week. For more information, visit earlcampbellaward.com.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football and Higginbotham have teamed up to find the most driven team in Texas. This fall, 10 finalists will be highlighted throughout the season, with one student athlete from each team receiving the Most Driven Scholar Athlete Award for their leadership in the classroom, along with $1,000 in tuition assistance. In November, all 10 communities will rally to vote on TexasFootball.com, competing for the title of the most driven team in Texas. The school that rallies the most online votes will receive a $10,000 donation to their school, thanks to the support of Higginbotham. To learn more, visit TexasFootball.com/mostdriventeam.
Hey DFW residents, get your grocery essentials in minutes, not hours or days, with Wing Drone Delivery. Forget about last-minute trips to the store when you need things like cereal for breakfast before school, medicine for a cold, or snacks for a movie night. Wing's drones get you quick, no-contact delivery in as fast as 15 minutes. Say goodbye to last-minute grocery runs and say hello to more of your valuable time. Sign up today.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football and Wing have selected 64 high schools in DFW to take part in a head-to-head online bracket challenge, showing their school pride and community spirit during the 2024 Texas high school football season. The winner will receive a $5,000 donation back to their school. We're currently in the round of 32, which concludes September 27th. For more information on the challenge, go to texasfootball.com/most-spirited-school-challenge.
We're having fun on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight, aren't you? Thanks for watching Week 4 of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. They keep renewing us. And we are going to try box it here. We can't quite quad box it quite yet. We're working on that. We're seeing if we have the technology.
Technically, it's still a quad box.
Yeah, but one of them's
We're
us.
just part of the entertainment.
I don't know if anybody would consider us a box.
That's fair.
This is like we're more of a cube.
This is the 3.5 box.
Yeah, we're more of a I don't know, something.
Oh, look, looks like we've got a Westlake and Cibolo steal. Westlake with the ball here.
Westlake in the red area there.
Oh,
nearly
I thought
picked
he was
off.
Gonna pick that.
Yeah, Lampasas has scored to go up 21-7 on Wimberley, and looks like they are, although Wimberley looks like they are driving there. And then Chapel Hill Carthage knocking on the door as well there in that East Texas showdown. You know, one thing about this Chapel Hill team, you know, this does feel like there's a couple of teams that we've been spotlighting tonight. Hitchcock last night, Chapel Hill tonight, where it feels like this has got to be the year, right? KJ Edwards punched the outside as Westlake will plunge in for the touchdown there as Westlake has extra point pending, come close to knotting this bad boy up at 10. But yeah, this does feel like for Hitchcock and for Chapel Hill, like this is the year, right? This is the class that they wanted to do it with. They need to find a way to get it done this year if it's going to happen.
Yeah, when you start looking at all of those sophomores that they had a couple of years ago and going, okay, we're gonna get to the junior year and be like, this is the thing. But when they get to those senior years, when you have those, it almost feels like one of those, we have to do this now, or what are we gonna look back on in years to come? It's gonna be, we wasted that year.
It's gonna be. I mean, you look at. Honestly, with a lot of these teams, look at Westlake, Steele, Chapel Hill, right? Those teams that had those young breakthrough players as freshmen and sophomores, you know that those coaches are thinking like, hey, these kind of players don't come around every once in a while, right? We have to strike gold eventually. Of course, Chapel Hill broke through last year and made it to a state championship, but of course you want to be able to hoist the trophy. And so I do wonder, like, I would love to know what happens when you go into an off season after a disappointing maybe junior year for a lot of these guys, knowing that we got one more shot at this.
Well, and the other thing is too, especially when it comes to towns like that. We're talking about smaller classification ball right now. We have seen the Duncanville, the DeSoto, the North Shores reload, year in, year out, consistently good. But when think about teams like Hallettsville with Jonathan Brooks. Think about what we were talking about earlier with Lampasas and Ace Whitehead.
I think Chapel Hill just picked it? No, incomplete. Okay. I thought they
It's
just got an
just those
interception.
smaller towns tend to not have that type of talent. The Brooks brothers with Shiner, Timpson with Terry Bussey, those, when they roll around, you have to
It's a
capitalize
historic,
on it.
it has to be a historic season. Hitchcock we're seeing this year potentially, right?
Yes, with Lloyd Jones.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, and you see, like, of course they have Kelshawn Johnson this year, but they lost Damian McDaniel, right, who's a Power 5 player as well. So yeah, that's a good point too. You have a lot of these smaller schools who you know that those schools don't produce those kind of players. You know about those. It's funny when you talk about those teams that 3A, 4A, even the smaller 4A programs, 2A with Timpson last year. They've known about those kids for like 10 years, right? You know, you're like, oh, when that youth team gets up to high school, we're going to make it.
Good.
Like they knew about Terry Bussey for years.
Or you
down
can just
there.
be Columbus and have a town full of showables. Like
Sure,
that's
yeah.
that's your only other option.
You get the 7-year-old Adam. 7-year-old Adam. You're like, oh, you're going to lead us to a state championship one day.
Well, it's kind of like Mart. Like Mart, like the joke in Mart is that everybrady's related to Quan Cosby, right? You know what I mean? Like it's just like a couple of families there. As
5 degrees of Quan Cosby.
As Jaden Jackson getting the run there out of the slot T there for Franklin. A moment on this game, okay? I am a little. One of the things that Salina scoring 45 on Franklin is very impressive.
Yes.
But one of the things that I had my eye on in this one with Franklin and Salina is that the style of defense that Salina runs may in fact be a bad matchup for Franklin. What I mean by that is Salina runs an ultra aggressive 10-1 defense. Okay, they put a ton of people up on the line of scrimmage, and they make you pressure. They press you. Now that is a high-risk defense, especially when you go up against like a spread offense.
Yeah.
But in with a team that likes to play in the phone booth, like Franklin, it can be an advantage, and I wonder if that's what we're seeing tonight as we flash back over to Shirts, where Cibolo Steel now down 13-10 in this one. Cibolo Steel looking to become the first team since they did it 11 years ago to the day when they beat Westlake. That's the last time Westlake lost to a San Antonio team. Looking to bring one back for the 2-1-0.
All right, so here is a big school matchup. How about we check in with a small school matchup? This one, a cross-classification matchup, as Pottsboro traveled over to take on 2A Division II's Munster Hornets. As we bring in our broadcaster Ross, Ross is interested to hear from you. We knew that the size advantage in this one was going to lean very heavily towards Pottsboro, specifically on those lines. How have you seen Munster try to step up and really step up into the physicality and the size of the Cardinals?
Great point you just made. I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, you can definitely kind of see that size advantage that they have in the matchup. But all that being said, Munster's still doing a really good job of applying pressure, really trying to make it uncomfortable for Caden Humphrey to a lot of times, try and make passes. And it seems like for the most part, they're actually kind of keeping that Pottsboro offense kind of off their game. So relying a lot on, as you'd expect, Caden Humphrey, as he's got 2 touchdowns on the ground. So a lot of physicality up front, but even though it's a 12-point deficit for the Hornets, they're still doing a really good job of hanging in there.
Ross, I want to kind of zoom in here on Caden Humphrey. This is a guy we had our eye on, a dual threat guy who's put up big numbers for the first 3 games. What have you seen from him in the first half that has you impressed?
I mean, more than anything, it's just how slippery he is. He's just so good at, staying in the pocket, waiting for his guy. And he's done a really nice job of staying in the pocket and making some throws. But there's been some disconnects, some timing issues. But even so, the ability to stay in the pocket, or that sixth sense of his to kind of know, okay, the pocket's breaking down, I need to scramble out. So the multiplicity that he really shows, not only with his legs, but through the air. I mean, he is a really hot quarterback, and you're seeing why. As this Hornets defense, they're doing everything they can, but even so, he is just doing everything to propel this team to a 12-point lead here in the half.
It's a big one in the Texoma region. Ross Levinsky on the call tonight. We appreciate you, Ross. And this is a game that, again, for Munster, they do have a loss on the year, but it's to Holiday, a 3A D1 team, I believe. They really hung in there. And so for Munster, Brady Carney not afraid to punch up a classification. They're doing it again tonight against Pottsboro.
No, I thought their win against Winsboro or Windthorst was very, very impressive in kind of a more team that is their size, if you will. And that's the funny thing. I mentioned it a minute ago with Ross. We talked about the size of the Lions being very, very, very different. Well, that's not the only numbers that are different. You take a look at the comparison here, and size matters in this one because the classifications, obviously, you can see a massive jump there. Roster size pretty close to that, but the enrollment, I mean, take a look at that, 462 compared to 168. But guys, this is where I want to highlight here. 285 pounds being the average weight of the offensive line for Pottsboro, and Munster coming in at 180. Okay, it is hard for people that are an average weight of 180 to block the weight of almost 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Hey, Ish, you're in a UFC, right?
Sure.
What would happen if a 285-pound fighter fought a 180-pound fighter?
Rest in peace. I mean, look, to your point, like, this is going to be arguably one of the last tests for Munster because they are ahead of their district in terms of competition level, right? We see this with South Oak Cliff. We see this with a lot of schools that schedule up a level to prepare them for October, November, because they know that, hey, we're probably not going to get challenged the way we want to be challenged, like somebody like a Pottsboro. So you get punched in the mouth. It's like, all right, guys, you know what it feels like to get punched in the face. So that way, when by district area third round comes around, we're not surprised. We're not, saying like, oh, we've been so much better than everybody we've played. And so, yeah, the size difference does matter, and it is a significant jump. But it shows them sometimes you got to get punched, and sometimes, I mean, it's good to take another UFC reference. Sometimes you got to know what it feels like to get punched in the face, to where then you're not afraid to get punched in the face.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. And this is, when you talk about what they're going to see down the road, right? They'll have to deal with Collinsville at some point. Have to deal with Lindsay, which is an undefeated team. Lindsay, that's a big rivalry game. The Kraut Bowl up there. I am very interested to see exactly how this works out for Munster, but they will certainly be battle tested. We know that.
They absolutely will. We appreciate Ross going up to Munster to bring you that game. All right, more games all across the state as we continue to dive in to the best that Friday Night Lights has to offer. We take you back down to my neck of the woods, Central Texas, Wimberley and Lampasas. Wimberley going ahead with the kickoff there.
It's like after some points for Wimberley, as we see.
Oh, he's loose!
Oh, my goodness.
Who let the Badger loose?
I believe that is Ty Johnson, the wide receiver, the number one wide receiver, throwing up the deuces.
I don't think he got touched.
I don't think he did either.
I don't think there was a single hand on him.
Yeah.
That was very smooth. Special teams making a big splash here for the Badgers here. And you want to talk about an answer, right? You're up 21-7.
Yeah.
Wimberley closes the gap. And now you suddenly clap back with that big touchdown there. As Westlake punches it in.
Yeah, I was about to say, after going down 10-3, now potentially about to take a 2-score lead.
Reese Wise plunges in for the touchdown there as Westlake now up 20-10 or 19-10 extra point pending on Cibolo Steel.
No, and this was what was interesting, too. We talked so much about the offensive talent of Cibolo Steel. It was also the big question that I feel like has been mulled over a little bit is how was the defense going to step up against a Westlake attack? This is a Westlake team that, if you remember, is coming off of a loss last week against Atascocita in their home stadium, which does not feel good. You can imagine that they went in here going, okay, guys, that can't happen again.
Not only a loss, I want to say that was the first loss in roughly 7
I think it was 7 years.
Let me see, I have it right here. 39. Oh, actually, here's one thing. Not only did they lose, they gave up 39 points. Yeah. Tony Salazar, as we know, arguably the best defensive mind in the entire state. 39 points. That was the most, I believe, given up. I have it right here. Since 34 points to South Lake Carroll in 2020 in the state championship game. That was Quinn Ewers, by the way. And then 35 points against Beaumont Westbrook in 2018. By the way, a team that went to a state championship. So if you're Atascocita, that's a badge of honor to be able to hang 30 against this Westlake defense.
As Wimberley now gets the ball back, Cody Stover going to work here on the quarterback draw and a lot of that there. But the defense ready. That was third down.
Man.
That was third down. And
very
now,
minimal game. But that's the similar, again, that's what Lampasas, looked at LBJ saying, hey, look, that guy, just key in on that guy and make anybody else beat us.
This is 4A action down there in Central Texas. Let's take a look at some 2A scores from across the state of Texas as we roll on Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight. Wellington down to a good Lubbock Christian squad, punching up pretty significantly there. Lovelady up on Garrison. One of my favorite games of the night, Shelbyville and Mount Enterprise. Kagan Ash versus DJ Barnes. Like, we thought it was going to be pointsy, and it has delivered. Shiner, which fell out of the rankings last week, looking to bounce back against Vanderbilt Industrial.
Punching up a classification, too.
Yeah.
Collinsville's a team to keep an eye on. They've cracked the rankings, and they're looking every very, very good. And then Lindsay.
Lindsay mentioned them earlier.
Yeah. This is a team that is going on the road to take on a Leonard Ball Club that's looking to prove something. Let's take a look at 2A Division I scores. Take a look at that QR code at the top right. That will take you to texasfootball.com/scores. We got all the scores across state. Hawley keeps on rolling. Beckville up on Harleton. Panhandle newly into the rankings, rolling over Amarillo River Red. That's a matchup of unbeatens, by the way. Mason up on Junction there in kind of the greater Hill Country area. Honeygrove looking to bounce back against Blue Ridge. And Sunray in a dogfight with Childress up there in the Panhandle.
An unusually low score for your Sunray
Don't you worry.
Bobcats.
I was about to say, those single
worry.
digits.
Armando
really caught my
Luan,
eye.
let's put on
Hey,
the cake.
281. Punching up to 3A, though.
That's true. That is very true.
We ain't afraid. We ain't scared. It's quad boxing. It's quad box. We got 4 games going on. You can watch all these live on Dave Campbell's Texan Live. You go to TexanLive.com. Franklin looking to make something happen down big in Waxahachie there to Salina.
By the way, I do want to give credit to the cameraman for this Franklin Salina game. Look, slot T is not easy.
No, it's not.
And you have to, I will give credit to, I think it was yesterday with Belleville as well. Anytime Liberty Hill is on the screen, ask any cameraman who's ever called a game with a slot T team. You're going to get faked out. So if you're going to see, if you're watching this game, you're going to see some guys get faked. You will see professionals get faked out that do this 365 that have done this for 20 years. They're going to be like, who has the ball? Dang it, there's the end around. You know, it's a very, very deceiving offense to run as you see him line up here. Very quick as well as we see. That's an end around. Look at that. Zoom in. Good job on staying with the ball carrier there.
Yeah, that's very tough. You see, of course, the same down showdown. A&M Consolidated taking on College Station. Fumble, drops it. Cade Corcoran looking.
How about the bounce? Bounce right back to him.
Yeah, exactly right. Those are the kind of bounces that College Station's gotten in this series. I'm just saying that. And as looking to College Station, looking to move to 7-0 all time against their rivals from across College Station. And it is worth mentioning again and kind of resetting here. This is a 12-5A division. Beyond being a huge rivalry game, this is a 12-5A Division I matchup that is Stony Pryor signaling in the play. A game that if A&M Consolidated wins, they have a clear path to the district title.
Yes.
Because they've already beaten Pflugerville Weiss. This is setting up the screen here. Gets it over to the
great
defender. He's got a convoy!
Great development there.
Oh, my goodness.
Big play there. But this is, but for Consol, if they can get this win, then they would be firmly in the driver's seat.
Yes.
Like seatbelts buckled. You're looking back at the kids, making sure their seatbelts are buckled. Like you are ready to roll to the district championship. If College Station, they still have to play Weiss, but they would certainly get over a huge hurdle if they wanted to do that. It's going to hand it off here around the right side, and the Consolidated defense ready.
For me, I was going to say, what do you say, Pickle?
Oh, I was just, go ahead. Go ahead. I got something after you.
I think last week's win for Consolidated over Weiss and how they did it, so many non-offensive touchdowns, right? Of course, Cannon Kieschnick having an incredible game. Of course, those 2 extra points returned back for 2 points and then a pick 6. But like generating other points, right? That's the type of game that's the type of favor and the fortune that you would want going into this game where you've been snake bitten before, right? Yes. Where you're saying, hey, we can generate some points without the offense necessarily doing all the work. We have somebody like Cannon Kieschnick who's very opportunistic. And so I think that type of win going into this type of game was pretty advantageous for Consolidated.
Well, and I was going to say, we've talked so much about this being the kryptonite for A&M Consolidated. I feel like, me being a visual person, it's better if we show you 6 games. This is the time span, guys. Yeah. This is how long this has been brewing. It's one thing to say, oh, they've won 6 games, but it's another thing to go back to 2014 and realize, hey, since October 24th of 2014 when they first played, hello.
And here's the other thing, okay? There are 2 double-digit games.
Yeah.
And they have, and by the way, we're not talking like 35 points.
Yeah.
It's 11 and 10.
And by the way, I believe there is also a 7-on-7 state championship game in there as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, these 2 teams have gotten to know each other very, very well. And if I'm Consolidated, I mean this sincerely. I mentioned this on Tepper and Step. If I'm Consolidated, I hate College Station's guts.
Yes.
I hate their guts
Yeah.
because this is the team that, like, we've run this town for literally generations.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the new guys show up. They're like, hey, what's going on? You guys playing football too?
They win a state title in 2017. They
Yeah.
beat Aledo to win a state
Yeah.
title. It was like, that was
It's
easy. Why did
no big
why did
deal.
it take you
Light
guys
work.
so long to get this
Light
title?
work.
Yeah, what? It's tough. Like, and that's the thing. And so for Consol, this would be not just a win to in many ways clinch a district championship.
Yeah.
It would be so much more, I think, for Brandon Schmidt's ball club to just get that monkey off their back, get that cougar off their back, so to speak.
Yeah.
Speaking about getting the monkey off your back, there is another game happening tonight. We've talked about it. It's down in the San Antonio area as Cibolo Steel is finally trying to get back to that pinnacle that they hit in 2013 when they took down the Chaparrals of Austin Westlake. Let's head out to halftime of that game as we're joined by EJ Sanchez and Ryan Hopper. Guys, we've talked about it. This is the year that Steel wants to do it. Off to a hot start early as Westlake starts to make their way back. But tell me, what was working for Cibolo Steel when they got off to that hot start?
Well, it's been a lot of Jalen Cooper, Pickle. I mean, Teb, I know you and Steph talked about it earlier. It's a really tough offense to contend with, and we saw that early on. It's really been a tremendous game from that aspect, but Westlake able to come up with an interception at the end, really towards halftime by Thompson Bennett. They were immediately able to turn it into points, and you're really starting to see up front especially why these two teams are ranked where they are.
Westlake heads into halftime with the lead. What were they able to shake off with that rough start and then assert their dominance as they go into a 10-point lead at half?
I would say they've done a great job where many football games are won in the trenches. That big offensive line, Jared Reisinger, Bennett Wilkin, Luke Walker, these are all almost exclusively upperclassmen, and they're putting hats on hats and moving guys. Westlake's final scoring drive, they just had Wise run it in the jumbo package twice, used his big frame. Easy 6.
And then, guys, I want to ask you a little bit about what I thought was the real money matchup here, which was the Cibolo Steel offense, all the playmakers they've got against this Tony Salazar coach defense. Seems like it's gone a little bit back and forth, but what have you seen specifically from the Westlake defense that should have Chaps fans encouraged?
Well, on early downs, Teb, they're really being able to stop the tackles. Or between the tackles, I should say, but really the big play of the game, we talked about conflicting styles a lot throughout our broadcast. Jonathan Hatton took a 75-yard run to the house on their second play of the second drive, and that's been the huge play. Really, other than that, it's been a lot of dinking and dunking. Like I said, Jalen Cooper has 5 third-down conversions in the first half. So up front right now, this Westlake defense, especially in the second quarter, not so much the first, they've done a really good job of getting downhill and making sure that Hatton can't hit another home run like he did in the first quarter.
Sanchez and Ryan Hopper, they're on the call. Guys, you look great. We appreciate you guys hopping on Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight. And for Westlake, again, this is the power, I think, of Tony Salazar in that defense of like, yeah, you've got playmakers, but we're going to diagnose and we're going to take away what you do best. I think this is the kind of game where if you are Steel, you know you're going to have to hit some home runs to win this ball game.
Oh, absolutely. On top of the fact that I honestly think that loss to Atascocita last week did this Westlake team really good because if not, this might have been a Cibolo Steel team that they're going, oh, it's the guys from San Antonio. We beat them every year, no big deal, and not really understand the whole slew of FBS prospects that they have on that offensive front. I think Atascocita pushed them in their defense of being able to stop the fast play on the edges, and that has paid dividends so far in going, hey, we just saw this last week. Let's correct those mistakes that we made and bring this one back in and calm down and remember, we're the Westlake defense.
I was about to say, they're plug and play, right? They know it's a culture now. Tony Salazar's been there for a lot of years, going back to, of course, when Todd Dodge was there. Everybody in that town knows exactly what they do on defense. If you're in middle school, you've seen that defense. You probably ran that defense since you started playing football. And so, yeah, it is plug and play. You know that they're not going to be a defense full of guys going to play FBS, Power 5 football. But it doesn't matter because they're going to be one of the best in the state. And it looks like after a rough start, which That's what you game plan for, right? Those first 2 drives, that's what you game plan for. And everything after that is adjustments. And it looks like Westlake, so far, Westlake's adjustments have been better than Steele's.
Big games all across the state. We've got you covered every step of the way here on Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight. After the break, other big games across the state. Who's going to win? Who's going to lose? We'll find out after this break if you stick with us here on Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football and Texas Army National Guard are honored to present the Coach of the Week Award, celebrating one head coach in 7 different classifications. That's 6A all the way down to 6-man, and of course, private school every single week. Think your head coach deserves some recognition? Nominate them under our weekly Twitter and Facebook post. Those will come out Friday at 10:30 p.m., Saturday 8:30 p.m., and Sunday at 6:30 p.m. That's facebook.com/Dave Campbell's or at DCTF on Twitter. Thank you to Texas Army National Guard for helping spotlight the hard work and dedication of high school head coaches across Texas.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football and Ozarka will announce 7 Team of the Week winners for 14 weeks of the Texas high school football season from Class 6A down to 6-man and including private schools. Head to texasfootball.com, go to the awards tab, and find Ozarka Team of the Week to see this season's winners and vote for your program to be named. Winners are announced every Wednesday on Twitter and Facebook.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football and Panini America are teaming up this season to honor the best high school quarterbacks across the state of Texas. 7 quarterbacks, 1 in each classification, 1A through 6A in private schools, will be named Quarterback of the Week and will receive a virtual Panini America trading card to commemorate their performance. Check out which outstanding quarterback was selected each Tuesday morning on the Dave Campbell's Twitter and Facebook pages.
Your power is unstoppable. And with us cheering you on, there's no limit to where it can take you. Baylor Scott and White Health, the power to live better.
Rolling along here on week 4 of Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight. Greg Tepper, Ishmael Johnson, Gizmo here with you, taking you into games all across the state. Big game tonight down in there in Houston area. A team that may lay claim to being the best 0-3 team in the state, Klein Collins in a district showdown with Magnolia West. Let's go to the highlights and find out if the Tigers of Klein Collins can get off the schneid. We pick it up. Klein Collins receiver Carlton Hayden is going to get in on the action early. Wins a foot race to the end zone, puts Klein Collins up early 10-0. Then his teammate Kawan Gather is going to get into the end zone. Do a little dance there, extending the lead. You can only do 2 thrusts, not 3. You know what I mean?
Reps on the 3rd thrust.
But not to be outdone, it's Jyshawn Jackson who's going to take this option play here. He's got a great block from number 11, gets to the edge and gets to the end zone. Klein Collins up big in this one, 24-0 at the break.
How about we stay in the Houston area, Westbrook and Silsbee. It'll be Silsbee quarterback Michael Mosier. He's going to fake it on the bootleg, and then here he goes, drops the dime right there to Caleb Johnson. Can he make it all the way? Yes, sir. Hits pay dirt and brings in 6-4 Silsbee. Extra point impending there. They ended up getting that, but they're back with it, and guess what? It's going to be Mosier running the quarterback, sneaking the tush push right there into the end zone. Don't worry, Westbrook will have an answer. It's Tamarian Anderson. He's going to keep it himself. Can he make it all the way tiptoeing in? Will they give it to him?
Yes.
Looks like it. Silsbee now back with it. Mosier hits Caleb Johnson again, and the man is off to the races. This dynamic duo continues to operate for the Tigers as they take the lead, and now we go to the try box. How about Alito down here? big run up the middle.
Yeah, but making short work of Birdville. By the way, one note on that, Silsbee's a 4A taking on a 5A D1 there in Westbrook. So this would be awfully impressive if Silsbee can do that. Of course, we got our eyes on that same town showdown between College Station and A&M Consolidated, and then Pottsboro and Munster locked in a good one in there in Texoma. And a reminder, if you're tired of hearing us yapping, go to TexanLive.com. You can watch any of these games live on your device. We will bring you games all across the state every single week. Games on games on games is what we call it.
If I'm tired of listening to y'all yap, can I go watch games on Texan Live?
Will you subscribe?
Yes, I am. I am a subscriber.
It's a good deal.
It is. It's an incredible deal.
Actually, yeah. It's
1,900 games a year for $49.95.
It's probably
Are you kidding me? Over 1,900.
That's probably too good of a deal, honestly.
Probably too good.
You see, as the College Station now looks like they are going to punt this ball away against Consolidated, and the defense for Consol is once again standing on its head.
How about Munster in the red zone here, looking to score, get it within a one-score lead, but a great tackle on the edge.
Yeah, this is look. I mean, look what we've got right here. We've got 2A, 3A, and then 4 5A teams going on here, and this is classic Dave Campbell's Texas football tonight. We span the state. And Texoma, Brazos Valley, DFW, we got you covered, baby. Scan that QR code. We got games going on all across the state.
I love.
Dropped it.
He recovered it very dicey.
Oh, Consol almost came up with the biggest play of the game.
That's one of those PTSD gifts, which is like Vietnam in their mind, like not again.
Exactly, because we were talking about it earlier, and it felt like at some point those breaks have to go towards College or A&M Consolidated. That might have been one simply off the recovery.
The fact that it didn't go wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. As it looks like Aledo driving again in a district game against Birdville. Remember, Aledo is riding the state's all-time longest Texas high school football district winning streak. They have won 119 consecutive district games. They have not lost a district game since 2007. Since 2007, the team that beat them in their last district game lost. Do you know?
No.
E-Block. The Everman Bulldogs are the last district team to beat them. You know how you know that? Matt Stepp won't let you forget.
Well, that and too, that's actually, we mentioned it earlier, the birthday boy, Blaine Tatum, our director, they have not lost a game since he's been in kindergarten. So let that sink in. As we welcome in his 24th birthday.
On the Aledo ISD system. That's amazing.
All right, another game we want to head out to. We head back down to the Central Texas region as we bring in our guy, Jared Robinson, who's down there covering Wimberley and Lampasas. Jared, want to ask you about this one. This is a Wimberley team that we saw took a loss last week and going up against a very good team in Lampasas. What have you seen so far from maybe what the Texans have learned from that loss last week?
You know, it's a really good physical football game. I mean, Lampasas at 3-0, and there was the question of have they played the schedule that some of the other ones have played, and I can tell you, this is a really, really good Lampasas team. Wimberley losing to LBJ last week, and I agree, Ashley, you thought, what did Wimberley learn out of that? They're seeing really, really similar things right here out of this Lampasas football team. Speed has really been a problem for them. Ty Johnson, 2 touchdowns for the Badgers so far, 1 receiving, 1 house call, 90 yards on a kick return with less than 2 minutes left in the first half. And so the speed of Lampasas and then the ability to break tackles for the Badgers has been just impressive for Coach Troy Rogers.
Jared, I want to ask you a little bit about Wimberley and quite frankly, what team they're rolling out there right now. We know that they've been struggling with injuries in the past couple of weeks. How have you seen maybe their game plan be adjusted because of the guys who aren't on the field?
It has. It's been adjusted for sure. You've got some offensive linemen that are struggling. You've got some defensive. Big loss last week on an outside linebacker, Braden Casey, for Wimberley, lost him to a knee injury. And they're shuffling some sophomores into the mix. Reed Wood, a young man who's trying to make some plays up there for them. And they're trying new things. And I think as you go through the pre-district schedule, and Doug Warren, one of the big guys who obviously you want to win every game, and that's the goal, is to go undefeated. But at the same time, a lot of the great ones you hear talk about getting better. I talked to Doug right before halftime just a minute ago, and his sentiment going in was, this is an opportunity for these guys to learn what they're going to play in the playoffs, because this is a really good Lampasas team struggling with an identity right now. Everybody knows what number 2 Cody Stover is, and the last 2 weeks they've been able to key on him a little bit. and keep him kind of under wraps. Last week, only 8 completions for 112 yards. Lampasas is doing a good job here today. So they do have to find a little bit of a running game and then a passing game as well. Cody just not able to make any completions right now.
I want to ask a little bit about Lampasas. Of course, we know about Cody Stover for Wimberley, but Reed Jerome for Lampasas. What have you seen from him so far? The last time the Badgers had a quarterback like this, and Ace Whitehead, who's now playing baseball at Texas, they made it pretty far in the playoffs. What have you seen from their signal caller and Reed Jerome?
Really good comparison. Reed Jerome, a kid, I think third-year starter now for Coach Troy Rogers. First 2 years we saw him really kind of figuring out the offense, but he's at a point now in the position where he is the general. He's the guy who takes this. He is, as Greg says, the straw that stirs the drink for them, and he's done an excellent job. Yards after contact, really contact being kind of Cody Stover-esque, I guess, really in the sense of making plays when he needs to, distributing the ball well to a lot of different wide receivers. They've got some good ones out here. Bryson Roberts, Ty Johnson have done a really good job. But Reed Jerome, he's the real deal. He's the guy now in his third year in this offense. He's one to watch for. They're doing a really good job with Reed.
And Jared, I have one more real quick question before we let you go. I know that there was a very important member of your household that you picked up from school earlier today, your daughter, who said, "Dad, you sound dumb and old on air. You need to say that Cody Stover is slaying it." So my question to you, Jared, is Cody Stover slaying it right now?
Well, I told her on the way here that I would try to work that in somewhere, but I don't think that that's probably something we could say. But what I can say is Lampasas right now is slanted. Ty Johnson's doing an amazing job on the outside of the receiver position, the speed, and then like I said a minute ago, Reed Jerome, he's the real deal. And so if anybody's slaying it right now, it's the Badgers' Lampasas as they lead 28-14 at half.
He's Jared Robinson. He's got the Riz. He's on the call for Lampasas and Wimberley. Jared, appreciate you, and looking forward to your second half call there. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting ball game, especially if Lampasas can find a way to come up with those defensive stops. Can I update you guys on a score? Score of the night.
Sure.
Score of the night. At the half. At the half. That is the important predicate here. At the half, Lovejoy leads Anna 49-41.
Oh, wait.
At the half? That's going to be a 7-hour-long game.
What?
It is 9 o'clock. It is 9 o'clock Central Time, God's time zone, and it is 49-41. Yeah, I'm just dropping these bombs on these guys. 49-41.
Goodness.
We're having fun, folks. Texas high school football's back.
The statistician for that game, if the DMN sent somebody.
They did.
Absolute sheets. Yeah. All right. So an incredible stat there. Okay, we will dive back into so much more games and so many more stats and anything like that if you'll stick with us on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. Before we get to that, we want to take a quick second and spotlight a team that might not be in the conversation a lot, and that's the Lytle Pirates. In 2021, they were 0-9. In 2022, they were 1-9. Michael Trevino stepped in as the head coach and brought them back their first winning season since 2013. What he has done for the Pirates has been nothing short of remarkable. Our very own Aaron Hardigan sat down with Michael Trevino to talk about his Lytle Pirates.
Congrats on the turnaround season. To think in your first year as a head coach, you bring Little its first winning season since 2013. It had been a while.
Yep.
I think the question is how? How in your first year were you able to do something like that?
I mean, you just said it a second ago, transformational approach. And I think that's what's changed my life ever since I got into teaching and coaching. And it's just because of how God has impacted my life off the field. Prior to 2017, I was such a transactional person, in every aspect of my life. And February 26, 2017, I gave my life to Christ. I fully surrendered. I said, God, take this, take me, and let's go where you need us to go. So utilizing that approach in everything that we do, whether it's with my marriage, our parenting at home, our home in general, our community, now our kids, and the way we lead our program, transformational is where it starts in every aspect. And it's been a huge blessing, and God has showed up and showed out immediately. And I didn't expect it to happen. I didn't pray for it to happen. I didn't want it to happen. God happened. And that's the reason why we're sitting where we are right now and looking forward to 2024.
I love that. I also think authenticity is so important because these kids are much smarter than we give them credit for sometimes, and they can read right through it, right? And so I think that's a lure in them buying into what you're selling, to what you're bringing to the table, is that authenticity. How important was that in a program that was struggling when you took the reins of it?
Well, we're a love-first, relationship-driven program. That's a non-negotiable. And again, everything that I've brought with me, I've always learned. And so the love-first, relationship-driven approach is where we start. I can care less about X's and O's, what we run offensively, defensively, special teams-wise. Does that play a role? Of course it does. But when kids know that, hey, I can trust you and you'll run through a brick wall, I'll never ask a kid something that I won't ever do. And so, like I said, we live it, breathe it, demonstrate it from the get-go. And with that approach, the kids understand. And again, now in 2024, kids know and they can see right through you. Anyways, when we're able to do that and the kids know, okay, you're just not a fluke or you're just doing this because you want to reel me in a little bit, harder and stronger. No, I want you to gravitate towards that. I don't need you to say, okay, is coach, real or he's not real?
Yeah.
Well, give me the opportunity to be real.
When did you start seeing that play out on the field? When did you start seeing the results of that mindset play out and realize, like, okay, something's different about this squad? Again, you first winning season since 2013. When did things begin to change last year?
I call this a monumental moment in our season, and it was week 4. We were playing the Natalia Mustangs, and that's a big rivalry between Lido and Natalia. They call it the Legacy Bowl. So heading into the season, I gave ourselves a theme. Our culture philosophy is dig deep, which is develop, impact, and guide, and we use a shovel as a representation of that. But I gave ourselves a theme of move mountains, moving mountains, and everything again refers back to a biblical approach. So week 1, we won our first game 3-0 with 29 seconds left versus Carrizo Springs on a field goal.
I remember that.
That started the trend. Week 2, we had a really big win versus Johnny F. Kennedy, 14-7. Week 3, we played San Antonio West Campus. We had a really solid win that game, but week 4 is where it really changed. And why? Because Lido hadn't won that rivalry game since 2014. So 9 years. And that week I said, we're moving the mountain. And I think that's where the kids started believing and the coaching staff and the community started believing. And I'll never forget that night. That's why I call it a monumental moment. And that was God. Clearly, that was God. Just because I knew exactly what had happened as soon as that game was over. And to bring that trophy back to Lido in 9 years, it was inspirational, it was impactful, it was intentional. Oh man, I can't believe it still happened and it occurred that night. In my first year, going 4-0 for the first time since 2007, transformation.
Takis is the presenting sponsor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Sustainability Champions Award, spotlighting influential kids looking to pursue a career focused on social, environmental, and economic well-being for our future. Be sure to check out this week's Spotlight Game of the Week, where we'll be spotlighting 2 Sustainability Champions Award winners. Thank you to Takis for your support of the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Sustainability Champions Award. For more information, visit texasfootball.com.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football is proud to partner with Sport Tyler to award the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose National Player of the Week, which recognizes the top offensive player in Division I college football, who also exhibits the enduring characteristics that define Earl Campbell: integrity, performance, teamwork, sportsmanship, drive, community, and tenacity. It all leads up to the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Award, announced in January. Congratulations to this week's winner of the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose National Player of the Week. For more information, visit earlcampbellaward.com.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football and Higginbotham have teamed up to find the most driven team in Texas. This fall, 10 finalists will be highlighted throughout the season, with one student athlete from each team receiving the Most Driven Scholar Athlete Award for their leadership in the classroom, along with $1,000 in tuition assistance. In November, all 10 communities will rally to vote on TexasFootball.com, competing for the title of the most driven team in Texas. The school that rallies the most online votes will receive a $10,000 donation to their school, thanks to the support of Higginbotham. To learn more, visit TexasFootball.com/mostdriventeam.
Hey DFW residents, get your grocery essentials in minutes, not hours or days, with Wing Drone Delivery. Forget about last-minute trips to the store when you need things like cereal for breakfast before school, medicine for a cold, or snacks for a movie night. Wing's drones get you quick, no-contact delivery in as fast as 15 minutes. Say goodbye to last-minute grocery runs and say hello to more of your valuable time. Sign up today.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football and Wing have selected 64 high schools in DFW to take part in a head-to-head online bracket challenge, showing their school pride and community spirit during the 2024 Texas high school football season. The winner will receive a $5,000 donation back to their school. We're currently in the round of 32, which concludes September 27th. For more information on the challenge, go to texasfootball.com/most-spirited-school-challenge.
Welcome back to Texas football tonight. We're here in the fun half where we off Tepper and then we just kind of run the show.
Is it half?
Fun quarter? No,
Fun
third? Third? Yeah, I failed math. Anyway, I heard we got scores.
But we're having fun.
I heard we have scores. Let's go to 3AD2. I heard it from Mallory, who just whispered in my ear. Yes, 3AD2 scores. Let's start off. Gymnet and Jacksboro. How about Jacksboro? Man, I know they're. Are they technically? No, they're not punching up. That's the same division, right? 382. Anyway,
there's no possible way to find this out.
Pop quiz, hot shot. Anyway, Jacksboro, struggling with Gymnet 28-19 right now. Lexington up on Groesbeck. Ganado, how about that? The top team in 2AD1.
3 Division 2. So
there
yes.
you go. Yes, same classification. So Gymnet looking to pull an upset. Ganado, how about that one? 21-0 over Tidehaven. Ganado punching up, of course, the classification. Schulenburg up on Wallace Brazos. Center up on Dangerfield. Hello. And then Wall up on Monahans. Let's go to 3AD1. Transition. Boom. I was trying to time that really well with
Regardless, you can scan that QR code at the top to take you to texasfootball.com/scores. And this one, a tale as old as time, Malakoff and Grandview. Actually surprised there that that's only a one-score game. I thought Malakoff might run away with that one, but those kind of games get weird.
I was about to say, those are two teams that have basically fought since the beginning of time, and they will fight till the end of time. Comanche and Toller are knotted at 7 right now. Hey, look at that little Lano Yellow Jacket.
How about that, the Lano Yellow Jacket?
I believe they're making their scoreboard debut.
Sting them.
Yeah.
That was the first time Mallory Hartley put Lano on this, and I was really pumped. I actually had to go look up the Lano logo because we have not talked about Lano on this program.
Wow.
But we're changing that today. The Fighting Lano Yellow Jackets up 21-14 on Jarrell. All due respect to Jarrell, I graduated from Lano. Bushland, Canyon West Plains still knotted at 0. Hooks and Winsboro. Winsboro coming out to an early lead there. And then how about this one down in the Alamo City? The Rohawks, Universal City Randolph, up by just 3 there on the Vokes of San Antonio Lanier. How about that mascot matchup?
Oh, the Vokes versus the
Rohawks.
Yes.
That is incredible.
I remember first time I went to a Lanier game, it was in San Marcos, was covering them. Their actual mascot is a giant gear.
Which is so good.
It's great. I love it. But I was like, is that just a gear? And I was like, okay.
Well, and if you're not 100% positive what a Rohawk is, it is literally a hawk that is sitting on a rocket.
Yeah.
They were like, okay, what could we be? Hawks. Well, how could we make a hawk cooler?
Yeah.
Let's put the darn thing on a rocket. That rocks.
That is
a Texas high school football thing that rocks.
Yep.
You know another Texas high school football thing that rocks? The quad box.
There we go. Look at the bottom right. We said hello to the Crowley Tyler Legacy game. First time they're up on the screen tonight.
Crowley trying to bounce back from a rather shocking loss to Dallas Skyline last week. I don't think it was necessarily that. I think Skyline is a much better team than what we've been used to seeing in the past. So don't get me wrong there. It was the way in which it happened. They lost 31-0. Skyline shut them out.
A loss that'll make somebody who roots for Crowley throw their headset around, if you ask me. So
Exactly, and it's funny because that was the same Crowley team that held with North Shore the week before.
True.
So I think it was the inconsistency that was driving people to throwing headsets.
Yeah, 100%. I think that now they're looking to get back to what they were hoping for this year, which is a team that, again, North Crowley is who they are, but they've hoped that in the second year of Carlos Lynn, they'd be closing that gap theoretically, right? Especially with somebody like Caleb Williams still at quarterback, who I believe, by the way, his birthday boy today. I saw on Twitter Carlos Lynn putting that out there. So again, they have to be able to rebound from that because I believe they play at the end of the year, and they can't let their arch rival run all over them. If this is, as we see here. What's happening here on the bottom left?
Oh my goodness, that was like consolidated.
Is this a scoop and score?
Look at the big man! The big man with the lettuce, and he spins the ball in the end zone. What is up, A&M Consolidated?
I believe he did the Superman.
Oh my goodness.
Everybody just stopped because I think everybody from the College Station just stopped, and he just picked up the ball and ran.
Look at that fella.
How about that? The refs didn't blow the whistle, obviously, and it looks like College Station's like, hey, what just happened, y'all? We've been talking about things going the other way. Let me get that. No way. Guess who that was on the, if that was 99. Vaca Puna Facchetti on the recovery.
Way! Is that the Texas high school football dudes rock dude of the year?
Oh my goodness.
If Greg Tepper.
If I have that, and that is 99, if that is correct, that is Vaca Puna Facchetti again on the big play going the other way. That is definitely, by the way, it's definitely going to stand. They're kicking the extra point now, so that is a touchdown. All of a sudden, what just happened? That's incredible.
If that was our king, our most special boy from A&M Consolidated, he is officially in week 4 being deemed the Dudes Rock Dude of the Year.
Yes, I was about to say, competition's over right now. I'm trying to go to Twitter right now to confirm that, but I believe my eyes don't deceive me. And that was number 99.
Holy cow.
The 2-time big man touchdown of the week.
I thought Cibolo Steele was almost going to try and fake it again down there against Westlake on that punt. They didn't end up going for it, but it did work once before, if you remember Royal Capel coming in.
Yes,
and,
it did work.
And doing that. It seems like Tony Salazar and his impressive defense has learned to not allow the special teams of Cibolo Steele to try and take
or
advantage.
any of those skill position guys on the punt team. Yes. Okay, so this is from Alex Miller at the Bryan Eagle. Vaca Puna Facchetti
Let's go!
strips Wilson's snap of the ball, returns it 73 yards to break the stalemate. Shout out my guy. Oh my God.
Okay.
That is incredible.
Do I have any nominations for our Texas State Technical Player of the Week? Can my guy go back to back?
We don't need any more nominations because we have a winner.
With the lettuce. That was just incredible.
We have to get a trophy now, just because he's winning it so much. We have to get a trophy for him.
Oh my goodness. You see the replay here of Crowley and Tyler Legacy. Tyler Legacy trying to make it into the end zone, and bam, go ahead and mark that one down for 6.
Running out of real estate there.
That was very
Shout
nice.
out that beautiful feed down there in Crowley ISD Stadium.
Dude,
it's a gorgeous, gorgeous facility.
You and I were at the opening game of that stadium.
Yeah.
And it was Lovejoy and North Crowley, because our boy Kamarian Pimpton was balling out. That's the first time that we recognized him. But me being a video nerd looked up at that video board, and I was like, this is the nicest video board I've ever seen.
So I say this as somebody who knows that any Texas State fan watching this, I know we upgraded our video boards. Until that point, that was better than anything at Texas State's indoors or outdoor facilities that we had. So when I was there, I was like, why does this high school program have a nicer screen than Texas State? I know they've upgraded since then, but you get my point. It's very nice. And nicer than a lot of colleges. I'm just going to put that out there.
A ton.
The quality of it, it's not even the biggest screen. It's a big screen, but it's not the biggest screen. But the quality of it is just so incredible. If you want to make a trip down there, definitely do so.
A nice little advancement up the field as we see the receiver give the first down sign there for Westlake as they continue to try. This is a big defensive goal right here for Cibolo Steel. You're well into the third quarter at this point. Westlake with the ball driving down. If you can get the stop here, you're still at only a 2-score game, and you can make it happen. But you have got to force something here.
You got to get something broken tackle right there. And look at that. Exactly what you don't want to see is missing tackles, getting to the edge, and getting a first down and keeping the chains moving. For me, Steele, Julian Hugo, number 9. I remember last year I saw him against DeSoto when they ended up no, not DeSoto. I can't remember who. I was in the Alamo Dome watching them last year, and Julian Hugo was a sophomore at edge, as you see him right there. He's the one with the white T-shirt on the defensive line on the left side. Very, very talented player. I was there with our buddy Mike Roach from 247, Greg Powers as well, and we were both like, "That's a guy." Like you saw the size and the physicality of him. Right now, I believe he has on the season 4 quarterback hurries, averaging 7 tackles per game. That's somebody who needs to be able to assert himself in this type of game because they need that against this Westlake team that is very much, we know Reese Wise is going to throw the ball, but Westlake can absolutely grind this out and just sit on this ball and sit on this position. Somebody like a Julian Hugo is going to have to make a big play to turn the ball over or something to generate, as we see them going for it again. Good little
I've been very impressed with this Westlake offensive line so far this game. That was what seemed to be a hole in their game last week, just not giving Westlake the opportunity to continue to kind of slowly advance the ball up the field. They're not looking to hit a lot of those big splash plays right now. They just can ground and pound, and that's what they're doing. Kind of back into solid form here against Cibolo Steel as we watch one more time to see if this one could be the one. Can he catch a break up the middle?
Oh, good cut there.
Very good. All right, so this one as Westlake continues to try to advance the ball up the field, but we're going to stop and take a break for just a second because it is time for our most favorite man to join us as he does every single week. And of course, we're talking about our Director of Recruiter, Mr. Greg Powers, in this week's edition of the Cruton Corner.
Welcome into another edition of the Cruton Corner where we talk about the top recruits in the Lone Star State. This week, we're going to be talking about the top class of 2025 wide receivers. And let's not waste any time. Let's jump right into it. Let's go to Duncanville. DeCorian Moore, not only the number 1 wide receiver in the class of 2025, DeCorian Moore is the number 1 prospect in the class of 2025. This young man's committed to Oregon, where he's going to be taking his skill set to go and play in the Pacific Northwest in the Big Ten. Still feels weird to say sometimes, but DeCorian Moore is a straight dog on the field, and that's why he's the number 1 player in this class. He's not only a great receiver who's helped lead Duncanville to back-to-back state championships, he's also a tremendous blocker. He runs each and every route as hard as he can, like he's getting the football, even when the ball's on the other side of the field or if they're running the ball there at Duncanville, and that's what has endeared him not only in my heart as the number 1 prospect, but I think in very many Texas high school football fans' hearts as one of the top players, not only in the state of Texas, but the entire country. He's a 5-star on every recruiting service. We're going to stay right here in the DFW for number 2, and we're going to go to Saxe and talk a little bit about Kalik Lockett. 6'2", 175-pound field stretcher. You're going to notice a common theme when we're talking about these receivers. They were all extremely productive. Lockett went for well over 1,000 yards last year. He's their go-to receiver at Saxe. I'm going to compare his game a little bit to Garrett Wilson. Now, Garrett Wilson spurned the Longhorns when he was coming out of Lake Travis High School to go to Ohio State. But Kalik Lockett, he said hook him, and he's going to be taking his talents to Austin where he can show his skill set in a Steve Sarkisian offense, and I feel like he fits in there perfectly. He is a 50-50 ball winner, a guy that you want to get the ball to in the vertical passing game, but he's a good underneath route runner and has the speed to make defenses pay. And you've seen that at Saxe that has an innovative offense and finds creative ways to get him the football. At number 3, we're going to flash down to Houston. We're going to go to Katy Jordan, and we're going to talk a little bit about Michigan commit Andrew Marsh. You know what? I struggled a little bit to think about a good comparison for Andrew Marsh, so why not just go ahead and pick another Houston area wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb. The Dallas Cowboys great was a star in that same region of the state, And I think Andrew Morris has a chance to follow in his footsteps and hear his name called on NFL Draft Day one day. He's a tremendous underneath route runner, a guy who can get open and create separation in the phone booth and really move the chains when you need someone to pick up a first down. But he's also an elite ball winner, a field stretcher down the field, a guy who defensive backs have to respect, which helps him pop things open underneath, quite often. He's also tremendously valuable in the return game. All three of these players are rated within the top 15 on DCTF's recruiting rankings, so they're all bona fide studs and players that you definitely need to know as they head on to the next level. Keep it right here every week as we talk about the top recruits in the state on the premier Texas high school football show, Texas Football Tonight. Thanks for having me, guys.
I appreciate Greg Powers and his new fancy shirt that he had there. He's real big on those black shirts, and he was telling me all about the quality of that one. So if Powers can be excited about it, you can as well. You know something else we're excited about? 4A scores across the state of Texas as we go into 4A Division II. Gilmer only up 4 on Coach Cochran's Lindale Eagles. Interesting there. Sitton and Gregory Portland. Won't talk too much about that one because I think we've got some highlights coming up.
Yeah.
How about Columbus?
How about Columbus?
Holy cow, they're punching up.
We're starting to run out of weaknesses of this Columbus team. Like you mentioned, punching up to 4A, of course, is a 3A D1 team. Look,
number 10 ranked 4A
Columbus
Division II.
Hitchcock game is looking very, very tasty in the district.
It absolutely is. You've got Bel Air Episcopal and West Orange Stark in a dogfight down there, and then Graham having their way with Decatur. Well, we mentioned one of those teams. We'll come back to that real fast. Let's go up to 4A Division I. You can scan that QR code in the top, texasfootball.com/scores. Austin LBJ down to Parish Episcopal. Waco Connolly down to Alvarado. How about that score at the bottom, Ishmael? Waco La Vega, 29-0 on Sammy Burnett and his Brownwood Lions.
A La Vega team that's been struggling versus a Brownwood team that's been kind of on the up. And so it's like, okay, a little reversal of fortunes there.
Oh, how the turntables have turned. Kilgore down right now to Pleasant Grove. Get your eye on the ball on that one. That one's very interesting. El Campo and Needville. A slobber knocker down there, 21-21, and then Celia and Bay City, another tasty one right outside the greater Houston area. All right, we mentioned it. Let's head down to the Coastal Bend. Sitton taking on Gregory Portland as we bring you the highlights courtesy of our friends down there at 364 Sports Sitton. Tristan Hansen is going to go ahead and take this one in. Can he make it in? Yes, sir, he can. The towel comes off, but the ball goes in the end zone. Get used to hearing that game. Henson going to take the snap right there, hands it off to Micah Green, and into the end zone he goes. Coach Mike Troutman's Pirates are rocking. Then get ready to hear it again. Tristan Hansen, can he do it himself? He keeps it and goes in again. A lethal rushing attack coming there from Sinton. Quad box.
Transition, baby.
There's nothing better than going from a Coastal Bend highlight to a quad box.
Beautiful.
That made my heart so happy.
As we see Carthage fully in control of this one, looking to drive even more. Again, Chapel Hill, without Demetrius Brisbane, there's only so much they can do. It feels like when they got that early score, I wondered if that was them maybe emptying a little bit of the secret tricks, right? And of course, I mentioned second, third, fourth quarter, what happens at that point. It looks like Carthage kind of figures out, hey, they're missing one of their, if not their best or second best weapon. We can kind of control this game from here on out.
And the other thing is, too, like the fact that we didn't know until theoretically right before game time whether or not Demetrius Brisbane was going to be playing or not, to me makes it sound like Coach Jeff Reardon and his squad did the right thing here. Sure. Do you want to take down the king of Carthage? Absolutely you do. But let's remember, this is a game between two different divisions. It is not a district game. Does it matter for bragging rights in East Texas? Sure. What matters more, having your do-it-all superstar quarterback / athlete / Superman, any of that, be healthy for district play and a long playoff run. So holding him out of this game was the right decision.
And not only that, because you remember last year when they were in that state title game, he did not look healthy.
No,
right?
he didn't.
In that state title game. And so, Jeff Reardon's like, we have to make sure that at the very least he's at 100%, because as we saw, they got manhandled in that state championship game against Anna, and they don't want that to happen again. So, like you mentioned, of course, a win over Carthage, anybody beating Carthage, that's a badge of honor. But senior year, he has more football to play after this year as well. You have to think about his health going forward, right? Playing at the next level. And of course, you remember last year where maybe there were some games where he felt he was healthy, but maybe not 100%. And you want to erase all doubt as Carthage looks like they rolled in again.
Oh.
I believe that is KJ Edwards. Is that getting in? He's going to mark him maybe just short at the 1.
Yep.
Trying to go up 37, 38 to 7 as Munster trying to close the gap, going deep, a rare deep shot there. As good coverage from Pottsboro on that one.
Man, shout out to Munster for getting back in this game. I mean, that score is not nothing.
No,
they
it's not
are
at all.
right there. Coach Brady Carney and his team having the opportunity to really, really make some statewide news. I mean, 2A Division II going up a 3A Division I. This is just a massive gap. And the confidence that this Munster Hornets team would leave this game with would be through the roof. They should, even if they lost by 4, they should leave this with the utmost amount of confidence.
Yes, they're taking Pottsboro to the wire at the very least. And by the way, you reminded me of this late. This was one of the first games this might have been the first game we attended together at Munster a couple years ago. Munster Windthorst. That is a great environment. That's a great stadium. That's the perfect, to me, that's the epitome of small town football.
Yes.
Just the two sides, 2A, stands are going to be packed. Munster's a great community.
If you remember at that game when we were there was not a single ounce of the fence line that wasn't full of fans watching. That football, we talk about how much football in Texas means, and it does really at every classification, and it does right here.
2-score lead for Consolidated. Oh, man.
We wondered if this was going to be the year. 0-6 against College Station in the history. And this seemed like the year. And I think a big credit of this goes towards their defense as well. This is an A&M Consolidated team that runs very, very, very good on defense. What they have been able to do throughout the year so far has been impressive. And this one, I mean, this one has every implication to be able to shore up, if A&M Consolidated is to win, what should, wow.
Oh, blocked, but it looks like they might have. Did they recover it? I couldn't tell. Can't tell what that was, actually. Okay, looks like he's signaling no good, so it looks like it was just a block. Okay,
but A&M Consolidated, after beating Pflugerville-Weiss in week 1 of district play last week for them, to go on and play the team that we also assumed in College Station could fight for the district championship. This could almost, all but assuredly, if A&M Consolidated's head doesn't get too big moving on past these 2 games, shore up what could be a District 12 5A Division I state or district championship.
Yeah, and I want to highlight something that you don't see often, which is you can see the College Station sideline. The College Station crowd sitting down. That is something you don't see. If you remember, not the Alito game, first of all, when they were at the state championship a couple years ago versus Alito, but even the first time they played Alito, when they beat Alito, 2017, incredible crowd for such a new school, I should say. Of course, you have legacy parents who maybe went to Consolidated, whose kids are going to College Station. That's a very proud community in College Station. Bryan, that Twin City, I guess you can say. So it's a very football-hungry town, but it is very surprising that they've had such a good, passionate fan base and student section. For A&M Consolidated to, I can say, come into a neutral site technically, since they both in College Station, but to silence that crowd and have them sitting down is a massive thing, because like we've talked about, they've had the mental edge and the advantage everywhere. So they've been giving their classmates and their team, their city townmates, whatever you want to call them, they've been giving them hell all week, right? We're just like, is it going to be 7 in a row? You still can't beat us, and for them to be like, they might beat us this time. That's a massive win in and of itself, as you see College Station on the return.
Well, and think about the coaching matchup here between College Stations. Man, he is still going.
No way.
Oh my goodness, what an answer.
Okay, well.
Well, he's going to shut you up with everything you
I was
were just
about to
saying,
say.
my guy.
He's like, what was that about sitting down? What was that about?
It's like, hey.
Momentum, what?
It said that our fans were sitting down. We got to roll something back, okay?
Fair enough.
But you take a look, too, at what I was going to say was the coaching matchup here between, I mean, obviously what Steve Huff did in College Station from the infancy of the program and taking them through to those state championships, winning one, playing in another. That was impressive. Obviously, then Stony Pryor ended up getting moved up and didn't fall off at all. Took him back to another state championship, didn't end up winning, but has that program going. What does this say, though, about college or A&M Consolidated? There's so many of the same words in those two things, but A&M Consolidated, Brandon Schmidt came from Prosper, now in his second year under the program. The immediate impact that he has made at this program has been very impressive.
Took over for another head coach in Fedora as well, who was another big shoes to fill, like you mentioned, like Huff, and has done nothing but continued the progress, if not potentially doing something that even Fedora couldn't do, which is beat College Station.
Well, and we wondered when Brandon Schmidt took that job, we were like, what are you doing leaving Prosper?
Prosper was it was a growing area. It had a lot of money. You felt like it was like a great area to like build a power.
Yeah, the stadium is incredible.
Yeah.
Well, he had family down there, and he was like, you know what? I think the wife's family was closer down there. He wanted to go out, get him some land, and turn this into a powerhouse, as that's College Station making their way up.
Yep.
Long run on the kickoff must have ended up getting called back.
Yeah, a little bit. Not going away without a fight. There's still, look, as Consolidated probably knows, this game is not over until it is over.
100%. And you do not want to lay down or give up any of those big splash plays. As we take a look down here at the bottom of the screen, both Tyler Legacy and Austin Westlake inching their way towards the red zone here, trying to Austin Westlake extend on their lead, and Tyler Legacy take them out of this tie there with Crowley.
Yeah, Austin Westlake looking to potentially put this one, I don't want to say put this one to bed, but more or less put this one to bed, because that is not a deficit that a Westlake defense is going to surrender.
No, and especially, like I said, they have done nothing but milk the clock tonight. I mean, think about how the entire time that we've been watching A&M and College Station go back and back and back, we're sitting down here and Westlake still is driving the ball.
Yeah. And again, they're not a massive running team this year. Of course, with Reese Wise, they like to lean on him, obviously, but it just goes to show that they know that their bread and butter can just be physicality and that offensive line up front when they need it to.
Let's see if Tyler Legacy is able to get this one across and take the lead here on Crowley late in the third quarter. He hands it off up the middle, and we'll check back in on that one in a minute.
Consolidating College Station here. College Station trying to cross midfield, trying to cut into this two-score deficit.
And we're back. The mini box.
The mini box.
We love the mini box.
I believe that is Wilson's step on the carry for College Station.
Now it's the big
4.
box.
Can you tell we've been up all day today?
You know, sometimes you have to appreciate the small things.
Yeah.
That's what Tyler Legacy tries to do. Can they push their way in? I think he's in. I would be shocked if they don't call this a touchdown.
That's some teamwork touchdown. That's got to be a touchdown. They have not signaled yet.
Man.
They have not signaled yet.
No, they have not.
I think they're celebrating. They must have missed a signal, because some people are celebrating.
No, they're huddling up right here.
Right
Man,
now.
well, if nothing else, there was a College Station defender underneath the running back is what it looked like.
A beautiful replay from this beautiful screen.
Can he go? Whoa, the ball dropped.
He recovered it.
Yeah.
Lyman recovered it, so even if he did fumble.
His knee wasn't down.
Yeah, no, his knee wasn't down. I think that push, that second effort, are they not giving it to him?
I guess not.
No, they did. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on the scoreboard. That was a touchdown. So they're lining up for the extra point or the 2-point, whatever they're choosing.
All right, so there you go. Tyler Legacy can punch that one in. Let's check out some more scores across the state as we check out Classification 5A. We start off in 5A Division II as the extra point is good. Wolfer Friendship, how about that? Up 51-42 on the Pirates of Lubbock. Pirates of Lubbock?
They are
Cooper?
Pirates, yes.
Why does that sound weird? Why do we have Pirates in Lubbock? Why have I never put that
You
together?
never know.
Iowa Colony up huge on Baytown Lee. Lovejoy and Anna. Looks like that one is still now scoreless in the second half after all of those points were
crazy.
scored in the first half.
That's insane. Todd Dodge is doing some things because we had some high expectations for Anna, and Lovejoy looked like they were starting slow, but Todd Dodge looking like he's getting things cooking there.
Yeah, snip, snap, snip, snap. We're going offense to defense, apparently. Liberty Hill up big on Pflugerville Connolly. Corpus Christi Miller. Wow, that's a big one.
That's a big one right there.
A little bit concerning about Cuero
Sure.
after a loss to a very good Columbus team,
Sure.
but now this, obviously that is punching up a classification, but still Justin Evans and his Buccaneers squad rolling, and then El Paso
A big
Del
game over in
Valle.
the Sun City. Del Valle really taking it to Canutillo right now. I believe Tepper and Step were both on that one. It's probably the biggest game of the year in the El Paso area. So Del Valle doing some work on Canutillo. Let's move over to 5AD1. Transition. Ah, nice. Look at that.
You hit it that time.
I did hit it that time. Alito all over Birdville 56-0. Richland all over Fort Worth Brewer 51-18. Here's a pattern. Galveston Ball all over Houston West Side. Whew. By the way, Galveston Ball, we know Jonah Williams and those guys, but we're really going to have to start paying attention. And by we, I mean everybody in the state
Needs
really going to have to start
yeah.
paying attention to
As
Galveston
that
Ball.
defense is really stinking good too, my friends. Smithson Valley absolutely having their way with a Brennan team that we think is a little bit down this year. Midland Legacy popping off 62-28. Okay, Clint Hartman, we see you out there. And then finally, guys, we have a close 5A Division I score. Lufkin 23, Tyler and the Lions 20. You can scan that QR code at any point in time to go to scores on texasfootball.com/scores. Every single score of UIL teams across the state on texasfootball.com/scores. Alrighty, friends, we're having fun here on Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight. We hope that you will become a Dave Campbell's Texan Live subscriber to watch any of these games as we dive back in to the 2-1-0 Austin Westlake with the handoff, trying to punch it in and extend that lead, and they're gonna do it.
Oh man, I mean, just if you're Steel, it's just like, man, this has got to be a demoralizing loss. But still, this is one you have to shake off because, as you know, this is the regular season, and we've seen games go the other way in the postseason. Because of course, this is the game that could happen. Both teams likely go D2, I believe, in classification 6A. So this could be a game, like Tepper said, potential regional final. You know, we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. It's very demoralizing if you're Steel, definitely. But I'm going to choose to look at this from the Westlake perspective.
Yeah, what a bounce back.
What a bounce back win. And then also, look, when Tony Salazar took over, obviously almost impossible shoes to fill, right, with Todd Dodge. Everybody knew that Tony Salazar was still deserving of that job, but he probably still felt some need to prove himself,
There's
right,
pressure
to that community.
at any point in time.
And he's done that in terms of like keeping the success going of staying as a state contender. But this year, this type of win, as we see Pottsboro potentially stretching the lead here against Munster to finish up on Westlake, that type of win in the regular season for Westlake, it goes to show like, hey, this program is not falling off, guys. Last week happened. Hey, that's a blip. It's happened to Westlake before in 2018, whatever. It happened under Todd Dodge. That's not the standard now. We're back to where we need to be.
Well, and I always say with a big program like that doesn't ever experience a whole lot of losses, just to straight up put it out there.
Sure.
Like there's not a whole lot of diversity in their play or any of that. Sometimes getting punched in the mouth is a good mental reset of, hey, we're not invincible.
Right.
And it's better to find that out now than to find that out in week 13 when we then no longer have a season.
Exactly. As we see Pottsboro, did you get a pick on that one? They tried to go for 2. Looks like it broke up play.
If you're Munster right now, you're looking at this and saying, okay, guys, we didn't come in expecting to necessarily win this game. Now, I'm sure that Brady Carney got in the locker room before the game started and said, we're going to go out there and win this game. But let's be realistic about like expectations here. If you can get out there, go score again. Go make this a very close game. This has been a very impressive showing from Munster. Don't let the scoreboard get you in too much of a fit here. I am very impressed what I have seen from the Hornets tonight.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm very much impressed as well. They're going to be disappointed in this, of course, because they are a competitive team and they have high standards, rightfully so. But from our perspective, right, the people that analyze the sport, the people that try to look at these things objectively, I look at that, I say credit to them. And I'm going to choose to look at that from a positive of Pottsboro being able to take that kind of win against a very good Munster team.
How about that? The Badgers extending their lead by 2 scores.
Yeah.
Talk about an impressive showing from Lampasas.
Oh my God. I mean, regardless of whether or not Wimberley is banged up or not, that's still a Wimberley team, right? That's still, as we know, both from Central Texas, that is still a team that's going to pump out playoff caliber talent regardless. Lampasas is not a team that is going to traditionally pump out state contenders or deep playoff runs. Would they know that, again, we talk about Ace Whitehead, we know that Jerome Reed, it takes kind of a special talent to maybe elevate the rest of that team, or maybe a special class, right? That senior class this year. They're not a team that's a perennial power.
No.
As we know, though, they're a team that the town can get behind if they do have a team like that. And it looks like having the signs of a team that is really going to rally that town together.
Well, and obviously what Troy Rogers has done over the course of the program, he's in his ninth year there at Lampasas. Oh, here we go, Munster. Dude, they do not stop the fight.
They don't go away. See if I can get a name on that. That's number 6 from Munster. Pull out my trusty
I'm going to go back to Lampasas real quick to
yeah.
finish up my thought there.
Kason Carney.
There
you go.
You heard of him?
Guy knows how to ball.
Sophomore wide receiver Ty Johnson is a name to know for Lampasas. Only a sophomore, obviously going up with quarterback Reed Jerome, like we've talked about, has been a really, really good thing for them. But that is a name to get to know. He's a very dynamic wide receiver for a team that I think as long as after Reed Jerome graduates, they can put another capable quarterback there. He's going to be one that we're looking back in a couple of years and going, okay, that's when we were talking about early on.
Sure. As we see, Chapel Hill just trying to get something together. Yeah, Carthage is just full in Carthage mode. That week 1 loss, shaking that off.
Here's the thing, though. I feel like most all of these Carthage games that we've seen, if you had to pick, and this is me literally putting on the Munster going for a huge pass play there.
Carney probably was uncatchable, I'm assuming, is what they're going to probably.
That thing.
Shout out to the guy in front of the camera there.
The dome cam. The dome cam.
Dome cam. I like that.
But if I had to push one, find one problem with Carthage, they do start off slow.
Sure, yeah.
They get cooking, but they do start off slow. And I'm not saying that that's something to worry about. Carthage will be fine.
Like you gotta crank it up a little. You gotta let it, when it gets cold outside, you gotta let it run for a little bit.
No. You know,
when it gets going, you're good to go. But it takes
you gotta warm up and get the frost off the windshield before we're going. Okay, we're gonna be late to school here, Sarad. Let's go.
You gotta get up an hour earlier than you probably would be.
Good stiff arm from Cibolo Steel. I haven't had one stiff arm.
We've been very stiff armless. I mentioned Kason Carney early, the quarterback for Munster. Of course, we mentioned that he, of course, it's in his blood because, of course, the head coach shares the last name with the head coach. He knows he's been raised on Munster football, let's just say.
Whew, boy, that Westlake defensive line is they're nasty down there. All right, there is the quad box. Let's check out some other highlights across the state. Another Central Texas matchup. We've been down in Central Texas, and my heart absolutely loves it. So let's continue it on. We're talking about Connolly and the Panthers of Liberty Hill. Liberty Hill and the tenacious slot T turn on the Jets early. It's running back Jack Pitchford who finds the end zone from 26 yards out. Don't worry, Connolly wouldn't go down without a fight. CJ Anderson finds Aiden Smart on the slant route. That's 37 yards in for Connolly. This one later in the game trying to answer, but out goes the ball, and Liberty Hill will capitalize on that in the short field. And guess who it is? Dylan Balancia taking it in Liberty Hill, and the Panthers up big.
Going down to the Houston area, Cy Springs and Cy Ranch as we see Paris Melvin Jr. taking the handoff and bouncing off, somehow staying up. Calmly walks and says hello to the sideline, to the cameras. As we see Cy Ranch answering back immediately. This is going to be Peyton Thomas breaking tackles of his own into the second level. It's a foot race, 75 yards. Can he beat him? Yes, he can. Breaks the tape that is known as the end zone to put Cy Ranch on the board. But back to Cy Springs. This is going to be Paris Melvin Jr. Again, look at this. Moves through, weaves in and out, gets to the sideline, turns on the Jets. Cy Ranch can't stop this guy. Foot race, gets in, I believe. Knocked out at the 1, almost as he poses for the camera. But they're going to make sure Melvin Jr. gets it in at the 1. punches it in on an 11-point lead now for Cy Springs, but Cy Ranch not going away. This is Owen Cassette dropping back to pass. He's going to throw it right. Oh, no! This is Philip Hager for Cy Springs. Picks him off. Cy Springs with the advantage right now.
If you're interested in that one, Tommy Yarish on the call. Highly recommend listening to Tommy Yarish call a football game.
Oh, 100%. Tommy Yarish, one of the best.
Cibolo Steele trying to answer.
Almost a one-handed snag.
One more quick score update as a little bit of a palate cleanser there. Happy to announce that the Llano Yellow Jackets get the win, 21-14. Aforementioned Llano Yellow Jackets sting them out there. I needed to let that one out. Shout out to our producer, Mallory Hartley.
Yep.
All right, we dive back in to Pottsboro and Munster. Munster now what looks to be on the 5-yard line. This would be a big score here.
Oh, yeah. This one, they cannot let Pottsboro keep this 2-score lead. As you see, Kearney taking it, trying to get to the edge, but Pottsboro's defense very quick. Cuts off the edge for him. Since they're shouting out alma maters, I'm going to shout out Manor 35-29 over Hutto right now. So
you went to New Tech.
Look, we didn't have football, okay? Yes, New Tech. I did graduate from New Tech. My diploma says Manor New Tech. Manor New Tech did not have football when I graduated, so we played for Manor. So it's very conflicting here, okay?
Bandwagon.
Anyway, all my sports gear says Manor on it, so.
All right, so pushing them back now to the 15-yard line.
Let's see. Oh.
Kearney puts it in the air. Can he find someone? Ooh, no, he can't.
The Munster sideline wants a flag, but
Munster ball boy was very adamant that was pass interference.
Maybe a little biased. It might have been pass interference, but maybe a little biased.
He almost dislocated his elbow because he wanted that flag thrown so bad.
As you see, College Station in a rare deficit against Consolidated, trying to get past midfield.
Oh, and it's picked!
Oh, a massive pick! That is, I got to get a number on that. I can't quite see.
Looks like 15.
19?
I don't know, I have bad eyes.
that is very true.
As we're spitting facts on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight, let's add another one in there.
He might got a flag for that because he is not off the field when he took his helmet off.
Nope.
I understand getting hyped, but that is a coaching moment. He's like, hey, son, I know you're hyped. Get the helmet on until you get to the sideline.
Because, again, as we've talked about in this game, you need bounces to go your way.
Yeah.
Penalties after an incredible interception that could theoretically put this game away is not what you want. That being said,
there, unsportsmanlike conduct on Consolidated.
Great interception.
Fantastic interception. Look, if that's the first win, you'll take that flag.
Oh, he's still over.
Yeah.
Now we're all talking. Yeah, you can see this is the beautiful thing about a same town showdown, and that is the chirpiness and what now could turn into a legitimate rivalry. It's hard to call it a rivalry when one team has consistently beat the other team.
If that interception did ice the game, you'll look at that and say worth it.
Yeah, exactly.
Worth the penalty.
Yeah, but we're headed back out there to play more football.
Yeah.
We also, before we get to more football, let's check in on some 6A scores across the state. We round out our scores with the big dogs.
Big dog.
How about that? Waxahachie, this one a district game in 11 6A, and we've talked about, it seems like it's been Duncanville and DeSoto, and then it's Cedar Hill, and then it's, hello Waxahachie needs to be talked about in that third spot.
I believe sophomore quarterback Jerry Meyer, who, speaking of Greg Powers from the Cruton Corner, he released his 5-star watch list for the class of 2027. Jerry Meyer, quarterback from Waxahachie, sophomore, he is going to be on that 5-star watch list. He's going to be a kid to watch he's one of the big reasons why Waxahachie is now punching up with Duncanville and DeSoto.
Speaking of district bunkmates, DeSoto are just doing DeSoto things over the Skeeters. Lake Travis crushing San Marcos.
Yeah.
This one, pretty interesting. This was a game I was very excited about.
That was a final, by the way. That was a Thursday game, I believe.
Okay, gotcha. South Lake Carroll and Euless Trinity was very excited about this one, and I still think that is a very good showing from Euless Trinity, 100%. A program that we, since Ollie Gordon left, we're trying to see get back into midseason groove. I think that this is a good loss for Euless Trinity.
By the way, our boy Josh Bell at running back, who we saw last year, I believe against Marcus?
Yes.
Yeah, at that game, he's a UTEP commit now.
Allen, they're doing things to Plano, but not
quietly, just being like good.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about a couple years ago. It was like, oh, Allen, are they kind of? And they're just kind of hanging around. they're just kind of hanging around that top 10 spot, and it doesn't look like they're going to relinquish anything anytime soon.
And then Coach Caduti and the Full Shear Chargers absolutely taking it to Burleson Centennial. A very fun cross-regional matchup there.
I was about to say, that's a fun one.
So if you want to catch up on any other final scores, go scan that QR code, texasfootball.com/scores. All right, we dive right back in to the game action and how about that. For the first time since the beginning of the College Station varsity program, a school that opened up in 2012, contrary to the 1936 opening of College Station, these are teams that have played 6 different matchups, all of which, until tonight, going to College Station, A&M Consolidated and second-year head coach Brandon Schmidt finally get over that hump and win the Same Town Showdown.
I want to pay attention to something here. Look how slow this handshake line is. These are guys that are like, they've gone to school together. They've known each other, probably go to the same churches. Like usually these, especially when you lose if you're at College Station, you just want to get out of the handshake line. This is a very slow, methodical, like, how many of these guys just know each other or have just known each other? And to see this, I love seeing this specifically, that handshake line, because it's like you're seeing hugs, you're seeing like, hey, great game, man, blah, blah, blah. You finally got us this year, great game, blah, blah, blah. That's what I really love that, because like typically you see handshake lines go very, very quick.
Fast.
You're just trying to, we're trying to get out of here. You're trying to celebrate. That one, you don't always see a very methodically slow, deliberate handshake line. So that just shows how close that community is, even when they're not playing each other.
Yes, congratulations to the Tigers of A&M Consolidated for finally making their way over the hump. Have a good feeling that the rankings may be changing a little bit in 5A Division 1.
A little bit, by the way.
A
little bit. And, of course, as Tepper mentioned, probably a de facto district title game.
Yes.
Because, of course, Consolidated already has a win over Weiss last week.
Yes, so the ball is out.
Oh, what a heads-up play. Ooh, bad snap there. Way to stay on it. I think that was the extra point.
Yes, I believe that it was. It looked like Munster was able to make their way into the end zone, but the 2-point conversion not successful there out in Munster, Texas. Taking a look at the mini box to the big box, we go back down to Central Texas, Lampasas and Wimberley. Man, this one has really been a fun game.
Lampasas trying to hold on to this one. Of course, Wimberley still gutting it out. We mentioned this Wimberley team banged up, but still not going away. They were down 2 scores. Could have easily said, you know what, we'll just, it's not our game. Lampasas has our number this year. No, not quite. Lampasas still some work to do in the third quarter to put this one away.
You start to worry a little bit about Doug Warren's ball club taking 2 back-to-back losses, both against 2 good teams. Austin LBJ, that was their first big test that we were able to see against them. Same here kind of for Lampasas. They did have a mutual opponent already. Lampasas played Fredericksburg in week 1, took them on 40.
Jerome, are they going to say he
How
fumbled?
about that?
I thought he was down.
All the Wimberley players pointing in that direction.
I thought he was down, but it looks like they are not going to signal him down.
No, White Hat just
White Hat is
pointed
pointing down. Black Hat is pointing.
Ooh, we're going to have
second down. No, White Hat is pointing second down. Yeah, it looks like they are going. Yeah, okay.
All right, so knee came down, I believe, before the ball came out is what White Hat was signaling over there. But then Wimberley, also taking on Fredericksburg, beat them 35-9. So it was an interesting comparison heading into this one of like, oh, these are 2 pretty even teams.
Yeah, as we see Crowley and Tyler Legacy.
He held on to it.
A pick.
How about that hot potato?
Wow. As they were trying to go down and potentially tie it. Oh, speaking of headset throwing mistakes, Crowley, back to potentially, I don't want to say anything final, potentially back-to-back back-breaking losses. Looks like Caleb, he just wanted to make a play, but just overthrew his man.
Yeah, and the route was there too, a very good route run by his receiver number 1 over there, but just ball-hawking defense there for Tyler Legacy. This is a good win for them too.
Oh, 100%. As we see, Lampasas still trying to ice this one away.
All right, it looks like we've got another handshake line coming here. Pottsboro defeating Munster 32-27 in a game that is just, I know that coaches hate the word good losses,
good loss.
a moral loss, anything like that. That's what that was. That was a very impressive showing from Munster.
Look, that's what happens when you punch up a level,
Yeah.
right? And like, I know that, hey, we're preparing to win. We try to win. I'm not saying they didn't try to win, but coaches know in the back of their mind, hey, we're going to be outsized. We're going to be outmatched in some areas. And coaches have to relay optimism to their team. Obviously, they game plan to win. But in the back of their mind, there's this little sense of realism here.
Yeah.
They didn't schedule this game knowing that they were going to run over Pottsboro, right? They were scheduling this game knowing that they got to prepare for Lindsay, right? They got to prepare for these teams. As we see, Stover misses, Jerome tried to shoot deep and Wimberley had a chance, but just out of the defender's hands for an interception. But yeah, like you mentioned, coaches aren't going to want to hear anything about good losses or moral victories. But from our perspective, right, that's how we analyze these teams down the line.
Yes.
When we say, they have a loss, that's weird. Okay, never mind. Like it's a Pottsboro team that's going to be pretty good, as we see there on the bottom screen, number 7 in 3AD1. Okay, well, there's context to that loss.
Lampass is just reaching their way down the field here, getting the first down. Crowley and Tyler Legacy. Tyler Legacy going back and looks like a completion there.
Yep. Looks like Lampasses was able to move the chains. Keep it ticking. And here's where we see Lampasses, because we mentioned, of course, Reed Jerome, but here's where we see Damian Rivas, who has over 300 yards rushing on the ground for Lampasses, as we switch to the quad box.
Quad box.
Carthage looking to just ice this one away. Waxahachie, I looked at those Waxahachie Stadium. I thought that was Waxahachie. It's a neutral field for Franklin and Salina.
Yeah, if you don't know where these two teams are, Salina in the far, far northern part of the greater DFW, if you can even really consider them that. It's kind of that barren land between Texoma and the DFW, and then Franklin down there in the Brazos Valley.
Yeah.
So, not easy drives, a good halfway-ish meeting spot there for Waxahachie.
Yep. One of the things, look, with Salina, to touch on that one more time, of course, yes, they're punching, quote unquote, punching down, right? Classifications, they're the bigger team here. But this is a team that runs a certain type of defense.
Hair rocking going with the band. Sorry, that was worthy of stopping you mid-sentence. I'm not one for interrupting, but that was too good.
Salina runs a 10-1 defense, and of course, when you play Franklin, a slot T like Liberty Hill, like Franklin, like Belleville, it's hard to game plan for
Your goal is for going up the middle.
Right. But Salina kind of plays an interesting defense that plays into that. That 10-1 defense, they see you wanting to play in a phone booth. Awesome, let's go.
100%. This is exactly like take it from basketball terms even. Yeah. When you know that the posts in the middle are deadly, you don't it's like, okay, come at us. I dare you, because we've got the defense that you can do there. But guess what? You can't shoot, so let's get you to the outside. A team that has tremendous wide receivers gonna be able to do something against Salina.
That's why I'm gonna be very interested to see Salina later on this year as a team that can spread it out. But Franklin, no, they're gonna play within the hashes, and that plays right into their defense.
They will throw one pass, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, Lampass is making their way
up. They are just slowly churning this game out as they try to ice this one.
So there you go. All of these games continuing on Dave Campbell's Texan Live. We encourage you to go to Dave Campbell's Texan Live /subscribe. Do it now so you have the rest of football season to watch all of these games. Throw it up on as many screens as you possibly can. Put us in the middle, and we'll be back to hang out with you every single Friday night. Did you have fun this week?
Oh yeah, you're gonna want to make sure you have that subscription for playoff season. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. But yeah, no, it's been a great show, and of course, as we know, the final third, the best third.
Yes, the fun third.
Fun third.
Fun third. Because we're good at words. All right, for all of our students here at the University of North Texas that helped to bring this program, for Miss Mallory Hartley, our producer, Miss Vianney Moreno, our associate producer, for the birthday boy, Blaine Tatum, our director, and the entire crew. He's Ishmael Johnson. I'm Ashley Pickle. Enjoy the rest of Week 4 of Texas football. We will be back next week for Week 5 of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight.